What is going on, everybody? It is episode 437 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am surrounded by friends helping me out today. First, directly in front of me, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for timcast.com, and I occasionally sub on this show. When we get to the 450th episode, Brett's going to shave his head. Just kidding.
That's a lie.
He's going to bleach it and dye it blue.
That is definitely never going to happen.
Blue. Is this manifesting if I just say things in the chat?
No, it is not. No, it is
Technically.
not. Yeah. No, it's not. Because look, everyone knows here that there's one person who follows through on all his bets, and that is me. But I'm not making that bet. I'm not making that one.
If we get to 12 super chats today.
12 crisis parties?
12 crisis
Still
parties.
Not happening.
Brett will dye his hair blue.
That is never going to happen. That is never going to happen. To my left, he got stuck in traffic on the way here, but he joined us. Introduce yourself.
Oh, what an intro. Like, what if I was a wrestler and that's my intro?
Yeah, it'd be good.
What would your walkout song be if you were a wrestler?
In this new world.
No, what's that?
Why you don't have soul?
What's that new Europop song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be that one.
It mean?
Speaking of walkout songs, John Cena's coming back.
To Pop Culture Crisis?
I figured that's mainly because he's an actor and the actors are all on strike right now, so he can.
Dude, I'm so ready.
Yeah.
But what's up, everybody? I'm Kellen, and I have returned after a long hiatus. Brett's finally... he gets sick of me, but it's been so long.
He's lying right
now. That it kind of wore off, so I was able to sneak my way back in. But I'm here, and we'll see how it goes.
He's lying. He doesn't want to do the show. I have to drag him on. No, not really. He loves
If we get 12 crisis parties, they'll reenact that.
You're a nasty person.
Oh, yeah.
You're fake news.
He's very busy. He's got to work all night. It's always monopolizing your time to ask.
And Serge is leaving this week. Yeah, it's going to be a busy week to end the summer.
Where's Serge? But Serge isn't leaving for good. He's just leaving for a small period of time.
Serge is going to do what Serge is going to do. That's all I'm saying. But no, he's not.
The question is, was Serge ever really here? That's the question. He's a mystery to all of us.
I love Serge.
I love Serge.
Serge metaphysics is what you're saying.
Yeah,
and to my right, Dane. Introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I just went out to get a little piece of chocolate, and Daddy's back.
Are you validated?
Validated? Why would I be
Because
validated?
it's got your pronouns on the chocolate bar.
He, him.
Are you being affirmed?
Bold of you to assume.
I love when we're
proud.
back, when I get to do shows with Dane. I feel like it's been a really long time, so
I
I'm
know.
psyched about it. And I don't know if we've ever done Pop Culture Crisis together.
I don't know if we've ever done it. No, we do IRL.
But we never done
together.
Pop Culture. This is a whole different show.
Yeah, this is crazy.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about MrBeast, who proves once again that you can't win. No matter how much good you do in the world, you're not allowed to actually do anything right without people second guessing you. He's being called a white savior for daring to help people in orphans in South Africa. They're very upset about that. He also won a Streamy last night, and he's very bummed and overworked right now. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Disney, which just saw its stock drop to the lowest it's been in 9 years, a 50% drop in just the last 2 years. On top of this video that went viral on Twitter of children going into a certain boutique at Disneyland, and they were greeted by a guy in a dress, and people were not happy with that. So we're going to talk about just how fast you can kill your company if you're Bob Iger. We are also going to talk about Dylan Mulvaney, who won an award last night as well. Aren't you excited about that?
Dude.
So excited.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I've seen what I've already seen from the streamies. I don't know why that stuff is on my timeline, but it popped up there.
It's because they can get it because it's not actors.
Who cares?
Yeah. That's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about that. Also, there's a group called Open, which is an advocacy group for polyamorous relationships and ethical non-monogamous relationships, who are very upset at the show Riverdale, which used a polyamorous relationship as the finale for the show. And they're like, you're using us. It's basically like my culture is not your costume, but for my sexual preference is not your costume.
Are any of you guys Jewish by chance?
I'm not.
No.
Anybody else here?
What a fun segue, Kellen.
Well, okay, it
Go on.
connects. So I knew growing up, I had some friends that were Jewish, and I know especially in middle school, a very stressful time is trying to learn Hebrew so you can recite your vows is not the right word.
You can do your bat mitzvah.
Exactly. That's what I feel like all this whatever you just talked about with non-monogamous marriage, all these new terms and pronouns and neo-pronouns, I feel like I'm learning a different language.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with it.
Even
It's
the
hard.
term neo-pronoun is kind of
That's like all the animal stuff, like the fairy and the frogs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys are ready, we'll get right into it. But before we do, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thank you very much for that. If you have a super chat, $20 and over, questions, comments, concerns, all those things, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read those chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get right back on topic. So if you guys are ready, we'll get going. Kellen, are you ready?
Yeah.
Hannah Claire.
I'm ready.
Dane.
Before we start, I'd like to know you guys' vote on the pizza. What's the ultimate pizza?
Dane is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I put a poll up in the chat today. I said, who makes the best pizza? New York, Chicago, or Detroit? Dane, you might have to explain to them what the hell Detroit pizza is.
So the Detroit pizza is like the square pizza that has the nice crust. Think Pizza Hut before it all went downhill.
Did it ever go uphill? There's actually a really interesting podcast about
you
the
wanna start
formation
again?
of Pizza Hut. Look, the answer is obviously New York pizza. It's the most true to genuine pizza that you get from Italy because of the displacement of migration in the U.S. I highly recommend everyone go listen to the Food Network's Food That Built America. They have.
I knew you'd have one from that show.
I love that show. Guys, you don't understand. The Food Network has a bumpin' podcast called The Food That Built America, and there's one
that's a
about.
good one.
It's so good, and there's one that has that's about the brothers, two different sets of Irish brothers who founded Pizza Hut and Domino's, and it spread basically through the middle of the country when neither one of them had ever had pizza. So there's no way that's the best. I don't really know.
I don't know what the answer
Detroit's
is, but I know
is.
what the answer isn't, and that's French pizza.
What's French pizza?
Oh,
Kellen,
dude, they don't even
stop it.
try.
It's when you eat pizza and you're gay.
They don't even
Just
try.
on a baguette?
No, it's just
Which is
like
what Pizza Hut based
it's
their
basically
recipe for their
it's like
dough
a
off of.
slab of bread. They like pour like a cup of sauce on there, and they just throw a couple globs of mozzarella and call it a day.
That doesn't sound bad.
That's terrible. It sounds very bad.
Well, the answer is Detroit pizza.
not.
It's delicious.
It's just not.
And I don't care what freaking Europeans are doing because I want my
sorry.
pizza to be free.
I'm sorry, I said northeast part of America, the original colonies. This is where you should take
I
your
figured
Fair
you'd
point.
like margarita pizza.
Kellen.
We're talking about regional pizzas, not toppings, I think.
No, that's like a unique pizza.
I love that
think.
Gen Z you is like, I kind of know what you're
Gen
talking
Z's
about,
trying to be
Dan.
so controversial over here, introducing new factors.
The Mexican pizzas from Taco Bell.
Ooh, why did that make the
Oh,
poll?
topical. Did you guys see that a bunch of people are suing? By the way, if I'm on, we're going to talk fast food. Do you guys see that some people have a class action lawsuit against Taco Bell because they don't put enough meat in it?
Yes. I have seen that. There's also one for Burger King and McDonald's. They're being sued for misrepresenting their food in
False
advertising
advertising.
pictures.
Do we
And,
have
like, it has this, the lawsuit's crazy because it'll have these sentences like, the burger is 30% less cheesy than it appeared in the promotional photo. Which I want to be
bet.
like, who did
Do
this
we have a
calculation?
timcast.com article on this? Because
Yes,
like,
I'll send it to you. Why do you not?
oh, do we?
You
Not
know-
the Taco Bell one, but I did do one for the class
I
action
meant the
lawsuit.
Taco Bell
Because
one.
do you know that
Topics that matter.
I'll do Taco Bell. I will write one on Taco Bell. The McDonald's or Burger King one. Do you know that guy on YouTube whose name I can't remember, but he dresses in a suit? and
Yeah,
he
I know.
goes-
Yeah.
They quoted
That
him
guy.
as an expert in this class action
Nice.
lawsuit. So I'm just saying, guys. I'm sorry. Is
Okay.
this pop
They use,
culture enough?
So guys, go ahead and vote. The poll is up there in the chat. I will answer. I will end the poll at the end of the show, and we will see just who wins. Will it be New York style pizza, Chicago style pizza, or Detroit style pizza? If you're listening to this podcast right now, New York pizza stands with 62% of the vote. It is in the lead.
Nice.
Chicago has 21%. Detroit pizza has 17% because nobody knows what the hell that is. So
We should have had Mexican
Respectable
pizza.
order.
That's a fair point.
There's
Yeah.
a little,
Why did you discriminate against Taco Bell, Brett?
Okay, guys, we will come back to it. You can yell at me after the show. All right, guys, we're going to get into it right now. I got some stuff to talk about at the beginning here. I want to discuss Gran Turismo because it beat Barbie over the weekend, which I am very excited about, but only because people were making a big deal about the fact that this movie got like, it got delayed like 2 weeks, right? So they did some like pre-showings like 2 weeks ago, and then they delayed it. They said it was because of the strike. That's not actually accurate. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think they believed that the strike was going to be solved at that period of time. But it opened this weekend to $17.4 million. It beat out Barbie, which was projected to make 17.1, but ended up making 15 million. And here's the thing. I went and saw two movies this weekend. Actually, before I talk about that, Oppenheimer came in fourth this weekend and passed Interstellar. It is now Christopher Nolan's highest grossing movie that's not a Batman movie. I'm
How do you think he feels about that?
I don't
it
think
makes him
it's
sad or happy.
I think it's slight cap anyways because it's not
Adjusted for inflation.
it's not adjusted for inflation. So Interstellar would have made more if it had come out. You know, if this had come out at the time of Interstellar, it wouldn't have made that much. So that is a big thing that I'm seeing right now. All these records that get broken are not ever adjusted for inflation, and we're talking records that were set in the early 2000s. So the value is very different.
They'll shift the goal. A lot of times you'll hear that term, shifting the goalpost, when someone's making something unfair. They're doing it just so they stay relevant.
Yeah.
Just to stay exciting and be like, look how great Hollywood. Like Hollywood's still in such a great state. Like, look how good we are.
yeah,
Continue to pay attention to us. We are important.
It's propaganda in most respects. Blue Beetle only fell 50% this weekend. Unfortunately, it fell 50% of a very small amount anyway.
What
so
is that?
It's a DC movie based on a character named Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. It was fine. I didn't like the movie.
Is that part of the new Snyder universe?
No. This is
So
leftover.
then, like, why would I go and watch it?
Nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
So they're really scraping for the D-list.
Yep.
Oh my god.
When is the multiverse for DC gonna die?
It hasn't even started yet. They're rebooting it with.
We need to schedule.
I feel like I've heard way too much about it to believe it
Here's
hasn't
the thing,
even
though.
started.
I don't care about either of those. What I want to talk about is the fact that Gran Turismo made a decent amount of money this weekend. I mean, it didn't make a lot, but it made some money. But
And
also, I went and saw a movie called The Hill, which was a baseball biopic sports movie. Gran Turismo was also a sports movie. I would like to see more of this from Hollywood. I don't want to see divisive movies. I don't want to see, I'm sick of superheroes. I would rather watch movies based on true stories about athletes because they end up being about a person overcoming something that's more than just modern day social issues.
They're going to make a Leia
Brett,
Thompson.
the last great movie that was based on a true story, you know what it was?
Go on.
He was here on Timcast.
Okay.
Sound of Freedom.
Okay.
And it got trashed for being like propaganda, for being in like an extremist movie when it was based on a true story.
This is sports, though. This is different.
Hold on, I'm
this is
getting
not
there.
politics.
I'm getting there. So that's the true story. Sports aren't going to happen. They're all being released on the streaming platforms because kids don't care. Everyone gets a participation trophy. Being competitive is bad these days. So why would anybody like new age moviegoers, why would they want to go watch sports when they don't want anything to do with sports?
That's why I think the Gran Turismo movie is actually a bit of a bridge the gap there, because it's about a guy who goes and learns how to be a race car driver, but he starts off
with
as a video game.
Right.
So it's actually the best of both worlds. I really enjoyed Gran Turismo. I really enjoy. Oh, there's a $20 one there from Bonsai Piper.
Yeah, let's see. Bonsai Piper says, I sent my resume for showrunner to Tim's P.O. box. I sent messages to Discord, hiring Brett, the regular staff, without an email back. Could you please tell someone to check the P.O. box? I'm doing whatever I can. Thanks. I
can let them know, but I have no place in the hiring practices.
Well, honestly, if I can give you any advice, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah, that's all I can say.
In the chat, Heart and Soul 72 says Sound of Freedom is not politics. It was made political by the media, whether people like that or not.
Brett, what's your favorite sports biopic movie? Of all time.
I would have to think about that one.
I got
Ali, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
I like Invincible.
Oh, a classic.
With,
or actually Miracle, about the
hockey
1980 team.
Yeah.
When
did that one come out? Because I swear I saw it in theaters.
Not that long ago, like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have one, Jane? Do you have a favorite sports
Rudy's also great.
Everyone loves Rudy, right?
What was the one, the boxing movie that's got Batman in it? He's like all drugged out.
Batman? Boxing?
What?
Anyway, someone in chat will figure it out.
Which Batman?
Christian Bale.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, that one.
But yeah, I would say Ali. But I also like The Hurricane, which isn't technically a sports movie.
Wait, does Rocky count?
No, because it's not a biopic.
Well, chat says it counts.
I think it counts.
Chat says it counts. Okay.
Yeah,
so yeah, like
with the state of everything, I don't think we can be picky when it comes to what sports movies are making.
So the fact that Gran Turismo did okay, it's not going to have great legs overall. It's basically a Sony product placement ad, but it isn't divisive. It doesn't tell you to focus on your race, gender, sexuality, or any of these things. It's just a good, wholesome story about a kid overcoming the odds. And I think society could use more of that. They really, really could. Oh, also, by the way, Barbie became the highest grossing Warner Brothers film ever. passing Harry Potter and the
Wow.
Deathly Hallows Part
Well,
2.
What?
You know what that
Again,
means.
again, not adjusted for inflation.
See,
You know
that's
what
what
that
I want to
means?
know. Like,
Yeah.
unless you adjust for inflation.
Dude, if you adjust for inflation, it's all the old movies. It's Gone with the Wind and all that stuff.
Now we're gonna get like My Little Pony again. We're gonna get Polly Pocket, like all the girls' toys. They're gonna like think that
Aren't
this
they
is like
doing,
a
like,
trend, and they're
An
gonna put.
Uno horror movie, like Hasbro
Uno
licensed
horror movie?
Yeah, they license all these.
Well,
like, the
they're
rights to these
making an
games.
8-ball movie. They should make an 8-ball horror movie. Like
Maybe
a
that's
guy
what I'm
carries
thinking of.
around and just gives him bad news all the time.
Do you guys see that the Uno count was like you can't plus 2 the plus 2?
Yeah,
That's
And they're
crazy to me.
You made great. Thanks for making the cards.
Yeah,
we'll take it
over
from
from here. Yeah.
You're allowed to. Yeah, you're allowed to.
Oh,
do what you
radio
want.
was good.
Maybe you can't.
Yeah.
But
But,
I can.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I've seen, especially when it comes with cards, is like depending on where you go, your rules of play are going to be very different. Even pool. That's actually a big thing that happens here because everybody who comes to the castle, if you play pool with them, everyone's got a different set of
Yeah.
rules to
Yeah.
how they play pool.
I think that's great. We learn about different regional cultures. It's important.
That's why we need to whip out the shuffleboard.
For me in pool was that when the first person sinks their last ball, that's where everyone has to sink their last ball. And I know. And when I said that here, everyone was like, "Go play Mexican pool somewhere else, Dane." And so I did.
You're like, I'm from Puerto Rico.
So guys, go see. I do say go see Gran Turismo and The Hill. The Hill is actually. I wish Mary had gone to see it. By the way, guys, Mary will be back tomorrow. But the movie The Hill is actually kind of a faith-based film because the guy who it's based on, it's a guy named Ricky White who had like a condition. He had braces on his legs from the time he was born, serious medical condition, and ended up playing minor. He made it all the way to like a major league farm team. And it's he's a real person, right? And his dad was a pastor, played by Dennis Quaid. I really do think that everybody, especially if I had to guess based on the demographic of this show's chat, I think that they would skew towards really, really enjoying it because it doesn't take a crap on religion. It treats the characters that are religious as complex and not just, bumpkins, which Hollywood has a tendency to do when it does religious characters. It doesn't force feed you diversity or talk to you about it as if it needed to be there for some reason. There are black and white characters, all of which that get along, and it's
Crazy.
just, it doesn't treat you like a child.
Can I ask you an irrelevant question? No, Dane, you go first.
Oh, so you mentioned Field of Dreams, but that's not a
That's a good one,
biopic.
too.
Is Gran
we are
Turismo
Marshall.
related to the video game at all?
Yes, it's based on a person named Jan Mardenborough, who was the first person who won the Gran Turismo Academy. So he was a player in the sim and won the Gran Turismo Academy, which was something put on by Nissan and PlayStation, which was if you won the Academy, you got a chance to race for the Nissan team.
That's awesome.
It's really, really good.
Okay, when you think Dennis Quaid, what movie do you think of?
I don't know. It's 10 people would get you. I think of Randy
Like
Quaid.
gun
not
to my
Dennis.
head, I couldn't tell you one Dennis Quaid movie.
The only movie I know him in at all is The Parent Trap, and
Yeah.
that's it. If he had another career, I am not aware of it.
Yeah.
For me, the day after
Randy
tomorrow.
Quaid is better anyways. All right, guys. So go ahead and see the movie. I do suggest it for everyone here. And Barbie is now setting records. Also, Dane, you'll love this. Kanye West is reportedly planning to drop an album soon.
Based.
Yes. Thoughts? People are saying that nobody's going to listen to it. I think they're wrong.
No, everyone's gonna listen
Yeah.
to it. I don't know if it'll
Me
be
and Shane.
good.
Yes. well, I mean, you saw he performed with Travis Scott in
He's
Italy.
kind of going like the John Lennon route, isn't he? Like kind of just going completely off the wall, right? Making like this crazy like experimental music nowadays.
Is he?
I mean, the last album was kind of like that, wasn't it?
Oh, it's pretty great.
Yeah, they're right. Dennis Quaid. Day After Tomorrow is probably the Dennis Quaid movie you'd want to see. It's
I
it was a
think
climate. It was a climate
I
change
love that movie.
propaganda.
I
I
know
think
who he
this is
is
a gender
now.
thing because I only think of The Parent Trap.
It was.
You cannot tell
it
me
was,
he's in anything else.
It was a climate change propaganda movie from 1998.
What? The Day After Tomorrow?
Yes.
No, it was like 2005.
Was it?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it was not. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in high school.
I think it's interesting Kanye is performing with Travis Scott because aren't Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner broken up? So it's like getting the whole
They're still together.
ex-brother-in-law. I think they're broken up because I think she's dating Timothy, what's his face?
2004. You guys are
Really?
right.
Dude, that's
You
a
know what it
great
is? It's
movie.
because I lump it in
love
with
that movie.
Independence Day, which came out in the late 90s.
No, I've never seen that movie.
That movie is not so much problematic because there's nothing they can do to stop it. He's just trying to warn everyone, and then everything kind of just happens all at once.
Well, that's just because he's
You
like
know?
he's just leaving a a conference on climate change, and the climate just magically he's like, I was talking in like 100 years.
He's like Al Gore, except he's right.
Yes,
Yeah, he is
exactly.
like Al
That's
Gore,
literally
but-
exactly
yeah.
what it is. Emmy
Cool.
Rossum's in that movie. Va va voom.
Emmy Rossum.
Yep. All right, guys. So let's look at this. Celebrities in Hollywood are very much excited about the fact that Donald Trump had a mugshot taken. Did you see this?
No.
They take no breaks and are ready to dunk on this dude. So a bunch of people had stuff to say. John Cusack called him a lying, treasonous, child abducting R-word sack of S. I would like to know where the child abducting part was at. I pointed out earlier, I think that's them referencing children in cages.
Well, it's from when Haiti had that earthquake, and then there were a bunch of kids that suddenly went missing with an NGO. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
No, they're just saying whatever. These aren't even like interesting, like hot takes. The best part about the whole Trump mugshot situation is that within 2 hours of his arrest and like getting it done, his team was like, "Here's the merch. Do you need a long sleeve T-shirt? Do you need a coffee mug?"
We've got the shirt
They were
for you.
on the ball. I think that's so fun. No, his official campaign,
Yeah.
like they were like, "We can't top that red hat. You know what we're gonna do now? Use this mugshot."
So why wasn't there a profile shot released? Did they not do that?
I think
The
they
side
did.
shot?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't need to do it at all, right? He's like the most photographed person in history.
Man, I think it'd be sick to have that one too.
Just to rub it in.
But also,
more
guys,
interesting merch.
Green Day released their own merch of him with the
Really?
yeah
Wow.
for charity.
Oh, sure.
For charity. They're giving
No, I don't. There's no way I could show you. My favorite, like a lot of people are making T-shirts with the mugshot. My favorite one is a play. I just screenshotted it this morning. I probably can't see it if I showed it to you, but it's the Taylor Swift merch where it's got like her face in black and white,
Yes.
but then the colored boxes. Except it's Trump in black and white, and then all of his associates who also had to do the mugshots, like all around in the colors.
They're all smiling,
It's amazing.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Hamill, of course. Mark Hamill is up there with Rappaport as one of the more insane people.
Rappaport's a league of his own.
Wonder
They've
if he's
got
tired of
nothing
winning
going on.
yet. Bradley Whitford says cheese. Michael Rappaport says ha 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 ha. They love it. They're enjoying it. It is funny though, because you see the meme, you know, the famous meme from Predator where it's the two guys clasping hands and says Trump supporters, TDS sufferers, loving Trump's
Well, do you know
mugshot.
why they're reacting this way? Right? They're up in their ivory towers. They can't even fathom having to step 1 foot inside of a jail, let alone have your mugshot taken and be arrested. They can't even imagine that reality, and that's why so many regular people are relating. It's not great for a guy to be arrested and have a mugshot taken, but at the same time, look at the results, right? The people that are down on their luck, that have been screwed for years, they're the people who are resonating with this. They're I understand it.
Yeah.
I know what he's going through.
Kellen's running for office, everyone.
I did
I was
also
gonna say, you got a book tour coming?
there was a very funny moment of
His
the left eating their own, where Alyssa Milano basically made a joke of, I think it was Alyssa Milano, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but basically made a joke about him becoming a prison bitch, and they're like, that's not funny to joke about. You're insulting the LGBTQ community, and male R word is not a joke, and humorless people will be humorless forever. See, that's the problem. They think that that we're gonna care if he has a mugshot, and I'm gonna be offended by it. I'm not offended by it. I don't care.
Great
Pretty
picture, though.
indifferent about
It's
it.
a fantastic photo. It says, a man with a mugshot is now the front runner for the GOP nomination. We live in such bizarre times.
Why? Okay, I have an honest question though. Why? So this
From
is
Josh
the,
Gad.
This is
He
the
was
fourth indictment.
Yeah. Fourth
Why-
one in a 4-month period.
Why are we only seeing this reaction now? Do people not realize the process has been the exact same? Every single indictment, they just haven't taken a mugshot.
But that was why Georgia was sort of interesting, because the
of one
Georgia Sheriff's
photo,
Office
they
was
were-
like, we are going to release it. And so many
guess.
people want that
But it's a
visual.
lot of people.
It was the same thing with the perp walk. There was a lot of people clamoring to be able to see him in handcuffs being walked through. People have an aesthetic goal for all of this.
But do
they
you think-
want to say...
It gives them a visual
No,
representation
I
of
get
everything.
that, but I feel like people didn't even know what was happening until there was a photo to go with the story.
No, I think people did, but it doesn't seem as serious until it's like a mugshot. They
Yeah.
feel like there's some sort of pearl clutching reason why the president shouldn't have a mugshot. They won't question the fact that all of these indictments, which apparently this Georgia investigation has been going on for 2 years, shows up conveniently right after all these other
Yeah.
ones.
Dane said that he's going to be tried right before Super Tuesday.
the
Yes.
day
It's
before. I was just
ridiculous.
going to talk about that.
But it's not
insane.
political. This is just how justice works. Don't question anyone.
It's just it's just very, very convenient. All these dates are just lining up.
I would argue too convenient even.
Wow.
But it's just crazy because I really think about it, and I think back to I've gotten very good at separating art from artist, right? I can watch a movie with anyone in it. We just watched Gran Turismo, has David Arbor in it, and he's the best part of that movie. absolutely the best part of the movie. His politics, he's annoying. He's extremely annoying on Twitter. He's extremely annoying in general, but the man is a fantastic actor. When you switch it around, what they've proven is they don't know how to do that going the other way. So they see a movie with Jim Caviezel in it, and they're like, I hate his politics. The guy's disgusting, and they can't watch it. But if all you're surrounded by is people who see the world differently than you kind of develop like a callus to be able to put up with it for the sake of watching something you want to see. And to be fair, like a lot of people in the chat will be like, stop supporting this. These people hate you. I'm like, bro, I'm sure the dude who, like when I go into McDonald's, I'm sure the person who works there will grow up to hate me too, because we live in a default liberal, liberal left culture.
Yeah, you couldn't consume any piece of media if that's your standard.
Do you think musicians get away with more than actors do?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I think me and you might have had this discussion
I don't know
off
if we
air.
have.
I think they do. Like, I mean, we just saw what's happened to Carlos Santana. He apologized after basically saying men are men and women are women, and then he deleted the apology. And then Alice Cooper did the same thing. Yeah, he deleted the apology, and then Alice Cooper did his thing where he said like trans is a fad, and then like he lost a deal with like a makeup wear brand, a cosmetic company that nobody's ever heard of before. It's no great loss. Alice Cooper is a national treasure who's like 70 something years old. Right. He doesn't need their money. He doesn't need any of that. Plus, music used to be, especially like if we're talking punk music, like think about how depressing that is, like how establishment a lot of these musicians have become, because the only ways to make money have condensed down into some of these small, all these companies have been swallowed up by these large major labels.
That's why
they fall in line.
That's why I was really happy about the Neo story, because like he then went on and did a live on Instagram, I think. And he was like, hey, I don't know who the hell wrote that statement. His
publicist, without his permission, published it. Yeah.
So
but
funny.
it's good because I always tell you guys, like, these people, all these statements are always from publicists. That's why they all sound the same. That's why they all have the same buzzwords.
Same language.
Yeah, they all have the same publicist. Yeah. It's probably, I mean, at least the majority of them.
And speaking of music, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to the song from High Res. He released it. It's called First Day Out. I don't know if we're going to get copyright struck
from
for
High
this.
Res.
Maybe.
He's a good friend of ours. We like him.
Let's listen to this, guys. This is incredible.
I want to go to LA.
Well, shout out Patriot J, Benny Johnson, Big Bongino, Alex Jones, free my dogs and lock up the radical left's gone crazy. I don't bail, I won't see inside a cell. Shout out Thugger, free my slime, slat, YSL. They tryna lock me up, but I'm plugged in ATL. Got homies doing life in jail, they living in hell. These DAs acting silly.
Is this AI?
Yeah, must be.
No, it's him rapping.
He's doing a impression?
Big Bongino is my favorite part.
Yeah.
No, I'm wondering if High Res is doing an impression.
That's what I want to know. If it's AI or an impression.
Mega, I am not who they are after. I'm
Sounds
just
like
in
him.
the way they want to get to you, but I won't let them cold-hearted. No, I'm artist, getting back to where I started. I don't need to do the race, I'ma beat them Rico charges. Prison, you can't do me like the Clintons. I'll be laid up, eating steak with Secret Service, chilling, screaming, Orange Man bad. The whole world mad, thug life. Shout out all of my MAGA base chat.
How did he release this as Trump? How did he get away with that?
But before that, I'll finish walls at the border. YSL, slat, shout out Thugger. Finny got nothing on us.
I love that he references YSL too, because he got Gunna's lawyer. He hired Gunna's lawyer, which is incredible. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. Like I've referenced a lot of times on the show. Like one of the things about this show is like, is it pop culture? How far does politics stray into it? This is exactly what I mean when I say that they really have kind of converged and are one in the same nowadays.
Well, and it's like once like the kids have their own little celebrities that they follow, but everyone after a certain age starts, like, politics is just in everything.
And it sucks.
Now it is.
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
I think everyone should go out and buy that song is what I think. It's got 168,000 views in 2 days.
His one with, I don't want to say the doctor's name just because of YouTube is dumb, but he has a song with a certain controversial doctor on YouTube that's really good. High Res does.
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yes, Santa Clara.
Next, we're gonna get a remix with Oliver Anthony doing the chorus.
Oh, do I want to see Oliver Anthony rap?
You might.
That was
It's like the
incredible.
Noah Khan Post Malone crossover.
What if he just
More political.
disappears and then comes back on the Kanye album?
Why did he lose his southern accent when he talks?
He doesn't. That's how Virginia people sound. I don't know why everyone's freaking out about that.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out about it, Kellen.
It's like, especially too, like if you're with your friends too from back home, it's going to come out a lot more than when you're up in a city doing stuff.
Do you think is that because I went home?
Oh, it's definitely true.
I went home to Minnesota, and I don't have an accent. In fact, I do not have an accent. Chat. You're on my side, right? I don't have an accent.
You don't have a thick accent.
I think somebody here heard
got
me on the
something.
phone one day outside with my dad, and they're like, "You don't have an accent, but your dad has a thick Minnesota accent, whatever that means."
You definitely, there are words
like
that you
Canadian.
pronounce in your accent. You're just not, it's not a particularly thick. Like I'm sure if I went to like northern Minnesota, it would be stronger, right? But like my relatives who are from Texas, you know, the South will get on the phone with one another, and you can hear the drawl in their voice, but when they get off the phone, it's just much thicker for a little while. And I think it's because you get used to responding the way you hear things. I mean, this is also true of other regions where, because we have access to the internet, the regional accent is dying away. Like you might remember this more than I do because you grew up in the area, but there's like some island off the coast of Virginia where they have a really unique accent and dialect because it's an island, so it's closed off. It has to do with like
The
more
whole
English
like
slang.
Eastern Shore is kind of like that.
Yeah, it's like one specific place, and they would like teach it in their schools. But because of the internet, because people listen to podcasts and whatever else, they are hearing people who don't have this accent more often, so they're adopting more neutral way of
and
speaking.
we already know this happens in this country. Like we had the Mid-Atlantic accent, and that's gone.
Yeah,
it's the old 1940s
the
radio
transatlantic
voice,
accent.
the
Yeah,
transatlantic one.
How does that one sound like?
The bombers are coming over the bay, and you see them, the good old boys. That accent. Like,
I love that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's that's the more like wartime one. Then there's the more elegant like actress from the 30s and 40s. Like if you think of like Wizard of Oz, the original.
My favorite
how
is that
everyone
video.
sounded in that movie.
There's the girl who does the thing that says, "Welcome to the Southern Mommy Issues Hotline." I'll send it to you later. It's incredible.
Okay.
It's
Dude, I love the southern accent.
yeah. Welcome to the Southern Mommy Issues
I think
Hotline.
even the southern accent has regional differences,
Yeah.
right?
I think it's the
there's
greatest accent in the
Somebody
world.
insert that scene from The Office right now where Andrew Bernard is like explaining like South Carolina versus like Texas or something.
Every time a southern lady says honey, I melt.
What's
Like, I just love
interesting
it.
is like in 50 years, there's gonna be like a new accent that like everyone has, like that speaks English, just because we're all on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
it-
like from everyone watching videos of each other and posting
Well, the
yourself.
Kardashians are credited with vocal fry. They made vocal fry much more common. That like rasp.
Also,
Really?
like the internet is making it so all our voices are going to start to sound vaguely similar after a period of time.
Monoculture,
yeah.
monosociety,
a bummer.
globalism.
So do you think Trump ends up in jail? And if he does he end up getting celebrities to bail? Like I think he'll end up getting bailed out, or end up getting pardoned if he goes to jail someday. They should
I don't
pardon him.
know. I don't think that's a bet I would take if I was.
He's
Trump.
not actually going to. I don't think he'll actually end up in jail.
He could pardon himself. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. The death. I don't really know how that would go down.
That will be worth it for the celebrities that will then lose their crap when that happens, talking about a threat to our democracy.
But
Our
I was thinking
democracy.
about this. If, in 2024, if there's ever a time you could run the country from a room, it's 2024. I mean, they could roll in any equipment, any computers that he needs to be in touch with anybody, and he could serve the presidency from a cell in theory.
Incredible.
that would
you
go
know?
pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, imagine like world leaders that have to come visit him, have to like, they're like,
Wow.
face to face with the jail cell.
The history
the
books are
bars
gonna
in
be-
between them.
Yep. All right, guys. Oh, also, I have some depressing news for everybody here.
Yay.
OnlyFans users reportedly spent $5.6 billion in 2022, up
Why?
16% from the year prior.
Guys, the stuff is free. You know that, right?
Like the internet, you can find titties on the internet for free. You can, if
So I've
you
heard.
need to.
Degeneracy.
it's like when you see a T-shirt for $5, then you see a T-shirt with the Nike symbol on it for $50.
Yeah.
and it's the same exact thing. I think that's kind of what OnlyFans is rocking here. It's like, oh, but if there's something different about it because I have to pay money.
Dude, but I think that the psychology behind people getting OnlyFans is that they probably think is like, I give you money and like you respond, so they kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they
Ownership
think
relationship.
it kind of hacks into the guy's part of the brain about wanting to take care of a female, right? So
I mean-
they in some creepy part of their brain, they
just
think that's what they're doing.
Oh, see, I think we're just in a subscription culture, right? Like we are used to being
I subscribe to Netflix. I subscribe to that, and
right,
then I get
subscribe
that to look at this girl's
OnlyFans.
butthole. Okay,
There's
cool.
a YouTuber that I pay money to. I really think that's part of it. Like people think that like it's not
Yeah.
a big deal to pay for basically content creators, and so therefore, this is a natural gateway.
It's creepy.
Degenerate.
I should say it's creepy. I should say it's a weird time to be alive. Like you said, most of the culture is based, like we were just talking about on Friday, like just the amount of subscriptions a person will have to various things and not use. Right? Like I have a bunch of streaming services that I very rarely use. No OnlyFans services that I very rarely use, but I can see where
Prove it.
people...
Show us your credit card statement.
Yeah, I'll put that on air right now. I'll put it on the credit card statement. What are you pointing at?
Oh no, nothing.
What are you pointing at?
I just think you're a stand-up guy, Brett. You
Brett
really do.
Dasovic,
I also-
2023, no OnlyFans subscriptions.
I don't have it. I feel like Brett has a hard show today, keeping us all on track in conversation.
Attempting to.
So-
I wondered
to
why
be fair,
this
he
number
asked
would
us
be-
all to be here.
Were you-
I wanted to know why this number went up because it made sense in 2020 during COVID.
Because I mean,
Why?
it's a new service. If there's only more people going to
Yeah.
discover it.
Charlie Sheen's daughter's on it now. Tons
Yeah.
of people are
What?
flocking.
And
Yes.
and his
And
her
his
mom
ex-wife.
and her mom.
It's a family business
Coming
now.
soon. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, you know, there's a meme going around that's just so true. It's like guys are gonna be like, "Yo, like, why do I even need to try when you're putting
Yes, that is true. It is
putting
ruining
the
male
forbidden
female.
fruit right on the internet for everybody?"
Yes, Kellen, it is ruining male female relationships and the ability to have genuine connection
I
with
think
people.
if maybe this is
So
just like
true.
the pendulum correcting itself, and it'll humble a lot of people. No, maybe
We covered a story last week about this girl who tried to she was trying to raise money for Maui, and it was like one nude for $10, and all the money went to Maui.
It's like the
and
new one like,
but it
one
was on
pray.
but it was on GoFundMe, and GoFundMe shut her down.
There
Which
was
means GoFundMe is anti-woman and anti-Maui and anti-helping Maui.
There was a chick that was offering BJs for every guy that got vaccinated.
Wait, but pre or before or after vaccination?
Is that still going on?
After, I think.
It's just any vaccination you want.
She's
Forget the COVID thing.
She's a risk taker, but not that big of a risk
Yeah,
taker.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so that's depressing news for today. Also, I got one more. I thought this was a very interesting story. So, if you don't know who Allison Stoner was, she was
heard of
she was
her.
a Disney. Yeah, she's a Disney kid. She went on to have a pretty successful career, then left Hollywood for the most part. Still performs. She still does music. She acted in some stuff post Disney. I still remember her.
She has a podcast now.
Yes, she does. So she ended up in an episode of Major Crimes. That was the first place I'd seen her as an adult. But she had to formally request that people stop sending her Venmo requests because people were just hitting her up and saying like, "Hey, could you give me money?"
Sweet.
No, like what this is, guys, is like we live in a culture right now where they see like all of these people talk about the virtue of being an awesome person, about how they've turned activism into part of their brand, and it attracts a certain type of fan. Right? So these people are like, well, you're supporting this cause. Why can't you support me? Here's what she said.
For car and rent payment. Jocelyn wants $2,000 for a car down payment. Christina, Lexi, Gina, Weasel, Chelsea, Taylor, I know my chances are low. They're a longtime fan. You're my hero and I'm broke. Wants college tuition covered, just has a smiley face, can't find a job and they're losing their apartment. This is my privacy. Is that not weird to you? Please don't get any ideas. Please don't get any ideas.
The entitlement of the modern age is incredible. If I was broke and stranded on the side of the road, I don't think I wouldn't ask my dad for a penny.
I get it.
I think it's different to ask your family
but-
than just an actor, a
It's
former
so
child actress who's
weird.
on the internet.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, so that's what I think makes it less weird is the fact that it's just a random internet celebrity
You think it makes it less weird?
than if it was like a family member.
I think it's way more normal to ask someone you actually
Because-
know for
Yes.
support
It's
than
kind of
someone
funny.
randomly on the
Absolutely.
internet.
It's kind of funny, and who knows? Like, what if it does happen?
Yeah, I mean that's the
You
thing.
know?
Like, this is like a chance for it to be like, oh, a viral article. But the thing is, I know about her podcast because Instagram has started serving me clips from it, and one of them is like her talking about basically her whole podcast is talking about like the downfalls of being a child star and like the effect of it. Like I want to hear her interview Jeanette McCurdy, that girl whose memoir I'm Glad My Mom Was Dead went crazy viral. Like the one I just saw was her saying, oh yeah, when I was a child star, I was like out on the road performing music when I was a teenager, because her career basically slowed down and stopped, and she got a notification that one of her accounts was like overdrawn or completely empty, and it turned out that like I guess her mom and then like whoever was managing her team had made it so that they were getting bonuses from this account since she was a kid. But then after her work slowed down, they never changed it. So they just emptied this account, and they were like, but when you were 10 and we set this up, you agreed to it.
That's
she was
crazy.
like, I didn't understand what you were saying. And then no one changed this to adjust for like the end of my career. And so they just emptied an account. Like that's why I find the Venmo thing interesting, which is like they're not asking Elon Musk. I mean, maybe they would ask Elon Musk if they had access to his Venmo, but she's specifically talking about how like she doesn't have work in Hollywood, she's trying to leave the industry, she doesn't have that money anymore, and they're like, pay my college tuition, please.
I honestly don't know why this is as big of a story, because I think everyone's playing fair game here. I think the people that want to...
This is not that big of a deal.
It's not that, I just thought it was, I think it says something about the culture we're growing up, our kids are being raised into, right? So
yeah, they're all probably doing it. They're all in every influencer's comments asking for free
Why?
Roblox
You
money.
know what it reminds me of is occasionally on Pinterest you'd see this thing that was like, find the address or like the personal sensitive information for like billionaires or like, you know, famous people, and send them an invite to your wedding, because they'll say no, but they don't know that
they'll
they don't
send
know
you a gift.
and they'll send you a gift.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that ever works, but it is interesting that it's like, oh, a rich stranger
Interesting.
could possibly give you something, and that you should therefore shoot your shot and ask, I guess.
Well, dude, I mean, these people are getting caught, but there's a lot of these criminals right now that, like, during the pandemic, were just writing charges to the government for like masks and vaccines and other equipment. The government just didn't check. They're just like, oh, okay.
There was that guy in Estonia who stole like, I want to say at least $20 million, it might be more, from Facebook and Google, because he found the like company that they import some kind of part from, and he would just send them invoices, and they would just
I've heard
pay
that.
there's a
them.
$20 one right here.
He just got extradited to the
There's
US.
a $20 one here from Boosted Yogi. Says, reminds me of the guy that sent invoices to a large company every month, and they paid him for years for nothing.
You're right there with us.
Yeah.
You understand what we're talking about.
But you know, this behavior isn't really new, because I know that on Twitter, X, whatever, whenever there's like a post that's a meme that goes viral from some irrelevant person, usually the top comment after is the same person being like, "This is my Cash App." It's like,
yeah, I get that. People are like just looking to have money sent to them.
You know, I think it's it really, all these top meme accounts, right, that you see, like all
Declaration
these meme accounts,
memes,
all of them. They're all, I'm pretty sure none of them are run by Americans. I think they're all foreign interests. And the top comment under every viral post is friggin' OnlyFans or some Amazon product that's like a cheap little dinky toy that's going to break in 2 seconds. It's really weird. It's really weird what's happening. I don't know if you've noticed it. But pay more attention when you're on there. It's creepy.
All of these platforms have, like, for a while, Instagram had like a revenue sharing system where you could make money on your posts, and they got rid of that real quickly. And basically the only way to make money, I mean, not the only way, but the way for small creators to make money is like you can put send gift. So basically they're just facilitating a way for other people to send you money so they can take a cut of it on every transaction.
You know my theory on the blocking of
What
Elon?
about 20 pounds super?
There's a 21, from...
No, convert it. I want to see
don't know.
if that's not 20
Go
bucks
ahead,
American.
go ahead.
If that's not 20
You're
it's
British.
orange.
You
It's
know.
orange, so it's good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hollywood logic. Following the Constitution and BOR is treason, but destroying the government documents on TV, wiretapping civilians without warrants, in violation of the BOR, and politicians who aren't presiding taking documents at home isn't.
What's funny about it to me, just to stay on that subject for a tiny bit, the amount of TV and movies that I've watched where one of the prevailing messages that Hollywood loves is the ends justify the means. So they don't really care. Think about all the cop shows where they just go into houses without warrants. And because they're like, well, they're the good guys, so it's fine.
But do you think that desensitizes people to
Yes,
that
I do.
kind of thing? Like
Yes.
being like, oh, it's normal. It happened on Law and Order SVU, and Olivia Benson would never do anything wrong.
I think it's the idea that they believe they've programmed people to think that the government are the good guys.
Well, that's what I was saying about the mugshot, is these people are so far removed from the reality of law enforcement that they see them like they're giddy. They're like, this is like a new episode of CSI. Like, but it's Trump. Like, oh my gosh.
They're
It's the
saying that's
craziest thing.
$23 in American currency.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
And that's
you.
from Viper.
It better be.
Viper 69. So thank you guys.
Okay, what was your theory, Dane?
So the reason that Elon is removing the blocking feature is because he wants to promote subscriptions.
Yeah.
Because with subscriptions, you don't. So naturally, the only people that can comment are the people that pay, and thus, if you want to have like a layer of privacy and you want to get the trolls out, you got some money behind it. For example, one of my favorite creators he's called Decade from some gaming stuff, and he had a Discord where you had to pay $1 to be inside, and he was like, it's not about the money, it's just weeding the trolls out.
Yeah.
And there's no trolls.
Yep. I was talking
A single
to
dollar.
we're doing like a company fantasy football league, and I said, that's why like charging money is good. Like, who cares about the cash prize? But anyone that's like not serious about it, they're not going to pay money for it, But anyone that really wants to be a part of it, they'll do that.
How many people are doing the fantasy football league?
Usually standard is 10 people. I don't know how many we have right now. I think we have like 8. I don't remember. But shoot, what was I was going to say something about that with the Elon thing is no one's going to pay subscriptions to people for just the current state of X. Like, they need to completely revamp the video library so I can go on Tucker Carlson's page and I can just scroll through his episodes. Right?
Interesting.
I don't want to have to scroll through his timeline for an episode 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
you know how hard
that
it
makes
is to
sense.
find an old Tucker episode right now? It's impossible.
Yeah, especially if somebody tweets a lot.
Yeah, so either you need a dedicated account that only releases clips and does no other interactions, no likes, no retweets, nothing, or they need to revamp how they do that. Like, I would pay $2 a month, $5 a month to watch Tucker on Twitter, but not in its current state,
Yep.
So I think they're basically setting it up to get into the point where it's kind of a necessity. You know what I mean? Because so far, what I see, like even the big people, if they have any subscribers, it's like 10. Literally. I think like even Elon has 10. So
People don't see the point of subscribing.
what's the point? Right? So much of you can follow so many people and get so many things that it's all free. So like, why would you even?
Yeah. So it was weird to me to think that like you're gonna ask for something like $1,000 for like a car payment, and it was just weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it like speaks to entitlement or just like shoot your shot culture. But Kellen's right that like it's the kind of thing that like you could be like, I don't know, and send it, and then it's like, wow,
someone's going to
former
do
child
it.
actress does so nice, and like, you know what I mean? Like maybe someone's like PR team will be like, you should do it because it's a good move.
Right.
On the other hand, like I feel
those
bad for this
stories-
girl who's like only relevant right now because she's talking about like things people who were in charge of her finances did to her.
People taking advantage of her.
Yeah,
and
But also, like,
continuing.
your promotional team loves stories like that, where you help one singular, one person, and it makes for a great feel-good article that can be.
But then it just makes it more intense, right? Like then people are gonna be like, you did it one time, maybe you'll do it to me. Like it'll probably double how many requests she's getting.
Yeah.
The Tates, like every time someone makes fun of one of their fans for being really like extreme fan, they give him a bunch of money.
Yeah, which is encouraging the fan to keep going and engaging.
Yeah. Well, it's just like you said, going for it, like shooting your shot. Like the most CEOs and people of like power in the world are like high, like aggressive people when it comes to their personality. That doesn't mean angry, it doesn't mean evil or mean, but
they will
like,
ask for the things they
want.
want.
You know what they want. They're very clear about it. They're motivated. They're energetic, right? There's no questions about it. Yeah. And they're successful.
All right, guys. Now that we are 49 minutes in, let's get started. That
wasn't us starting?
I know.
No, now we're starting.
I'm pretty sure. No, we started earlier, Brett.
No, we're starting now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it because MrBeast is being dragged once again because every time he does something, the internet comes out in force to tell you that he's a bad person. In this case, he helped rebuild an orphanage in South Africa, and they're calling him a white savior.
I mean, this is his karma for. Oh my God.
South Africa is spicy.
Oh my gosh. Would you turn the bass up on that thing?
It's been a little while since I was here.
I didn't turn the bass up on it. It's the same as it's always been, ladies and gentlemen.
Jane, it's worse
Thank
when
you
you sit here for some reason.
Yep.
No way. Are you kidding me?
Dude, I don't know. Oh, that was bad.
I mean,
Thank you guys.
What I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted is that I think this is MrBeast's karma for popularizing soy face in.
You think
the
so?
thumbnails.
That's his-
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a $20 one there from Half Baked Treehouse.
Yeah, Half Baked Treehouse says, apropos to pizza and late as always to as POMC. I can't read. I don't know why I got this job. And one of those colors being Mexican, and another being Italian. They used to be colored. Taco Bell Mexican pizza is neither Mexican or pizza. But it is delicious.
It takes like 3 or 4 times before you get the super chat reading thing
Goodness.
down.
I've
It's weird.
done it
It's
way
different.
more than 3 or 4 times. I have
I know,
subbed on the show
I'm
regularly.
Like, I messed up the first couple times. I'm like, people are gonna think I don't know how to
I
read.
think I get worse at reading out loud when we add a live component.
Brett has
So
no
skill.
confidence in me reading. He always. I was like, hey, you want me to sit there and read? He's like, no, no, God,
when
no.
I was like, yeah, I'll come on. I figured at this point someone else had already gotten this job, and he's like, so you're gonna read, right?
Brett's just
no.
playing us like puppets, right?
Thank you guys.
Trolling
I appreciate it. Says, so this is part of a movement to end orphanages worldwide and find families for children instead of putting them back in orphanages. It's a UN-backed movement, which of course
They went to their favorite influencer, MrBeast.
no. This is the people criticizing MrBeast. Here, basically, it says that the lady who works for Hope and Home for Children said that MrBeast has chosen to completely ignore these voices, meaning the UN, her group, the group Loomis, which is one that's headed by J.K. Rowling. It's another organization she owns. Says despite the charity contacting him in March, shortly after he released a video appealing for donations for his orphanage project. Guys, it's funny because this is by no means one of his biggest videos. It's on his philanthropy channel, which is much smaller than his regular channel. And it's like you can't do anything anymore without people telling you that what you're doing is bad. And it seems like what they want more than anything, all of these people just want you to go focus on the government. Let the government fix the problem.
Isn't literally everything smaller than his other channel? He has the biggest
yes,
channel.
you know what I'm saying? But it's got but it's still got 16 million.
He's got a few channels up there.
Yeah. So she
the
added.
thing is, okay, you read the quote, and then I have.
She says it's a classic case of white saviorism. They said, is it a classic case of white saviorism? Arguably, yes. But one thing is for sure: MrBeast is denying the so-called orphans their right to grow up in a family.
Okay, this is the stupidest thing of all time. The thing
Yes, it is.
I actually think foster, like, studies bear this out. There were a lot of studies done in Romania about like the effects of institutionalism, like having kids raised in orphanages or whatever else. Like, I don't think that this person's mission is actually terrible, but I think it's weird to be like, how could he do this? We want to stop orphanages. It's like, great, but you haven't done that yet. Hence the need to have a safe and secure orphanage somewhere. Like, what you're saying is we shouldn't continue to build orphanages while we work to solve this problem. You want kids who are having to rely on these services to have terrible facilities? Like, this seems so dumb to me.
They mentioned that in large cases that there's a lot of orphanage facilities that have had abuse or problems, right? But then they stress, they go, not that there have ever been allegations that this one suffered from that. I'm like, so you're literally admitting that this place has no track record of that, but you still don't want him to help start this place from scratch.
It's the dumbest thing because, first of all, if you're MrBeast, you got to just block out all the noise because it's a net positive at the end of the day, what you're doing. Who cares how many angry people there are? What you're doing is good. If you didn't do it, we'd be in a worse place in the world.
Yeah.
Now, like, the whole white saviorism, you have to be so numbskulled, jealous, evil, take your pick to actually think that's a thing. Like, he happens to be white and he's helping people, so all of a sudden it's a problem.
No, see, I think it's that they knew, like, you've heard of MrBeast, you would have heard about the orphanage, you would not have heard of this, Hope and Homes organization. They are using specific language that they know will go viral to draw attention to their cause.
No, Hope and Homes is the one that are criticizing him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm 100% saying that they are using this outrage to try and drive traffic to their name. Like, that's gross. What are you doing? Let him do something nice. Even if you don't want to have orphanages in the world, and that's totally fine, it doesn't change the fact that, like, they are still needed in some places. Your organization has not fixed everything, and those facilities should be good and safe. And if someone like MrBeast can come in and do that, why would you be mad about it?
I will say Beast Orphanage isn't the best name.
No, not true.
Good point. That reminds me of a famous Reddit post that I think it was on computer engineering Reddit, that it was like, whenever I want to ask for help on the internet, I don't post a question. I post the answer and I get it wrong, because people will
Love to
more
correct,
like yeah.
Yeah.
So
also it's also in my opinion, I think it's kind of to the people that don't like him are probably in a lot of ways communists. He makes a point at the end here where he goes, you like. In fact, I wonder if I can play this clip where he basically says like money gets donated. You know, these videos make money. They profit because of ad revenue, and then we're allowed to give money back. It's a great cycle. He's basically talking about capitalism. They're allowed to make these videos. These videos make a profit. It gets other organizations involved that donate products or donate to, and there's e-bikes that were donated. There's food that was donated. It's really, really good. I will say the video is a little bit syrupy. It's very heavy on the look at the good we're doing.
What's up, YouTubers?
But it's good.
that's all his videos.
Yeah.
Honestly, the kind of
I mean,
to be
he
fair,
has a flavor. It's hard to get away from it now, you know?
yeah, but to be fair, like the white savior thing kind of like plays throughout the video.
So here's what he.
Like, oh, thank you, Mr. Beast.
Yeah. They do that quite a bit, and that there's room to be critical, I guess, of that. I guess.
But you're just
But at
pointing
the
out
end of the
facts.
day-
Like, I don't understand the criticism.
And at the end of the day, what people hate is the fact that he's able to do this on his own. They want you to have to rely on the system. They want you to have to rely on a political system, on an NGO. They don't want a guy with a private business to be able to have this much of an impact.
Well, dude, he's got to be careful. I was just watching today Jimmy Hoffa and his disappearance, right? Big civil, not civil rights, but big pro-union guy, right? Trying to help workers in this country. He's disappeared. Just disappeared. They've never found him. Never know what happened to him. Mr. Beast has to be careful, because if he keeps doing all this charity, something similar is going to happen. People are like, yo, dude, just like the chaos that we've created is making us money, and you're hurting our bottom line. You know,
somebody was talking the other day about how like I know nothing of whether this is true. They're saying basically like all of the mob got basically like eaten up by the CIA, and the mob just became the CIA, became members. I love it. It's great.
I mean, there's parallels are there.
Yeah, but
I think the kind of driving this back to the original subject is that fair criticism towards him, I think, would be that he kind of like plays on the thumbnails, because a lot of times when it's these events, he puts like shopped photos of kids crying.
yeah.
He's not
and
doing
that's in
them,
poor
though.
taste.
I mean, I know he represents his company, but he has nothing to do with, like 3 years ago, he did a photo shoot over the course of a weekend where they took like 1,000 photos of him making different faces, and he has nothing to do with the thumbnails anymore.
He's got a team of people that make the thumbnails.
He shows up to get like he has the
Kellen's on the payroll.
He does planning. He does. He's the star of every video.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure he doesn't. do
All
any
the
of that.
back end stuff, nah.
But here,
not
he
anymore.
literally says right here, says Mr. Beast says he's pushing himself to get weekly videos out, despite the fact that he's dying inside mentally. Meaning that like he has to film 7 days a week to get his stuff out on time, because there's so much detail to each video between all the channels.
wonder-
that
and there's no one who
killing
can
it.
replace him. Like
No.
that's the thing about his brand. He has to be at the center. So of course he's going to catch all of the flack for I'm sure someone else came to him with this idea. Like I'm sure he has a team of people who like, hey, for the Philanthropy channel, like we think it'd be cool to do this. Like I'm sure he comes up with some stuff, but probably other people help him suggest it. Yet he can't not be the one in the video, because that's what his audience is
What do
looking
you
for.
do if you're Mr. Beast to get away from it all? Like what do you do for fun, for a vacation, to decompress? Because
He wouldn't, because he'd make a video out of it.
Well, what I'm saying is like you've already done everything.
Yeah.
You bought a neighborhood for your staff, right? You've been to every country. Like you've been all over. Like
I mean, there's a similar argument to be made with that Tim has to do that because he has to do IRL, and like he took a week off to go get healthy, and he had to put a plan in place to be able to do that, because he does.
that's very different though. We
the
have
show
a
5
show.
You can pick a hobby. I don't know.
We have a
learn
show
to cook.
Monday through Friday here,
Yeah.
and we're not going to
All over
South
the world,
Africa, to China, to we're not doing all like he's probably going to, like on a plane multiple times every week to different
It's a hectic, like as somebody who does like just a show 5 days a week, which is just a certain amount of planning, like his life has to be insane.
There's this he's a local weather guy, Hannah Claire. I don't know, you might have heard of him because I know you follow the reporters, Matthew Capucci or something like that. But
I don't know his name.
he, dude, oh my god, they're working him to the bone. They're saying like he was just out covering the California hurricane, and then he had just like got back home, and then a day later they're like, nope, there's a hurricane coming to Florida. You're back on your way. He posts all this on Twitter, but it's like I'm like it's
You can't
exciting,
have a life. And I think-
exciting job, but you're constantly on the go.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing about Mr. Beast. Like Tim is a good example too, but just generally, is a time when you have to just keep pushing when your career is hot right now. So that guy, if he's married or like doing whatever,
Right.
I bet the conversation is like, I have to do this because one day, a la Allison Stoner from our previous conversation, these opportunities won't be there unless I pursue them. And I think that's
Strike while
what's
the iron's hot.
And like MrBeast started this when he was like, what, 18? And so that hustle mentality of like, I'm going to say yes to everything. I'm going to go everywhere. I'm going to do everything. I'm sure that is actually something that you're saying, what does he do to relax? And I bet that actually is not how he's wired. I think he is probably always thinking about what he could be doing.
Especially for people who
point.
are independent creators, right? Because it's all on them, right? They're not within the system. They're not within a system or structure. They have to create that system and that structure. So it goes beyond just, showing up for work. They have to do so much more than that. And it worked for him because he won Creator of the Year at the Streamies this year. I don't know if anybody cares about the Streamies.
Does
but he
anybody
did.
care about the Streamies? That's what I want to know. How many people stream the Streamies?
That's a very good question.
So I used to work at advertisement agencies and things of the
so
sort.
professional.
I know, but the point that I'm trying to make is that my issue with all awards is that it's people that run the agencies. Oh, birth control time. The people that run the agencies, they're on the board of these groups, and so they just award themselves. And so once you know that, like, any award is just stupid.
Yeah.
It's just like you just give an award to the thing that you're trying to promote the most. You can buy them. It's whatever.
I mean, award shows have kind of been. It feels like such an '80s thing to care about award shows.
I used to care a lot.
Well,
yeah.
when the internet came about, we fractured, and now the award shows don't have so many meanings because we're in so many different camps.
Yeah.
It's like the VMAs, and then the Streamies, and then the ESPYs, and then the Gram. There's so many, and it's like we need just to kind of simplify it.
I think
it'll just be called award show.
Well, and I think
I would love that, the global award show
Just
2023.
award show.
Well, I actually feel like that's sort of why Time does their like top 100 people of the year or like their person of the year.
Yeah.
Like there are some outlets that try to be like, it could be anyone, it could be an artist, it could be a politician, but ultimately, with the Streamies, I think that the purpose of the Streamies is to say that they are enough of an industry in and of themselves, because you're not going to get recognized by, as an Oscar for a YouTube video. And so they want to say, like, we are such a big deal. And in fact, they have the cash flow to back this up.
And they are,
right?
in a lot of ways, far more important now than the Oscars
I will
or
say,
television.
Eurovision is still, I think that's what it's called, is still going hard. Like every year, it is like trends on Twitter. Like they sell out stadiums, and
my thing is like
they're still doing well.
My thing is when it gets to that point where you're doing these like circle jerk award thing, it, like you lost your edge. What makes you you? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why it stops being cool.
We don't pay attention to industries that actually could be interesting. Like it's not like we give out. There are industry awards for architects who are doing really interesting things with like whatever you're interested in. If you're really into the environment, like recycled materials.
We're not even talking,
but we don't talk about that because it's not like people we know or recognize.
They're not
right?
they're not front-facing camera people that you identify with.
Exactly.
Though, like, and we're not even talking about the thousands of dinners that these celebrities have where they give each other like lifetime achievement awards, or like the NAACP has their own. That has the Image Awards have their own separate ones. It really does feel like, and of course it's the 1,000-foot view from somebody who doesn't live their life, but with a lot of these celebrities, they wake up and they go from work to award show to gala.
Well, to them, it's work.
To the Met Gala, it's their job.
To them, it's like I have to make this appearance, right? Like I have a brand to uphold, I have an image to uphold.
Yeah.
I just saw a video of Dwight. Was it Dwight Howard? No, it was Dwayne Wade, I think. His car, and it was like part of like him winning the NBA championship one year, only starts when he holds his NBA ring to the hood ornament.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
It's sick. But it's like, it's not quite an award, not quite what we're talking about, but it's another thing that's like, he got that for achieving something.
I saw a thing that said, or just the other day, it said like they want to give like rings to the wags, to the wives and girlfriends of NBA players.
Come on, bro.
I feel like that reality TV show Wags never got quite the following it should have.
Yeah.
They should
That's
design
fascinating.
one, and if you
I
want to
really
pay for
do.
one.
I think what they ended up coming to is like they can get them if they want. Like the wives and girlfriends can get them.
Bro.
but no, they
Disagree.
I don't know if
It should be like way less quality though. Like it's still like honorable and it's still cool. But like no, if you're on that court putting points on the board, like you should have an award that no one else gets.
A lot of people would say that, like, look, plenty of players fall apart when things fall apart at home. I'm just making their argument for them that, like, if she's good at keeping him focused she's literally being given a ring for not bothering him.
It is. I will say it's weird. We talk about like presidents that aren't married. It's weird when you see athletes that are very good and have been good for a while and aren't married, like Aaron Rodgers.
Are you saying not married?
Yeah, but he's divorced.
Yeah, but like almost everyone else like has a happy marriage with kids.
No,
He's just an outlier.
Hard disagree.
For like the most famous athletes,
There are
I'm
so
talking
many
about the
athletes
ones
that have
on
like
cereal boxes.
100 children and are not married. If they fall into that category,
He's talking like the LeBrons and the Kobes.
Yeah, I'm talking Tom Brady, Philip, like all.
Tom Brady was divorced.
He has kids though. What I'm saying is
he's not happily married anymore.
Okay, my point is like. Whatever,
Go on,
guys. Whatever, guys.
well,
No,
I would see your point. Like,
Let him
Tim,
cook.
Okay.
No,
finish.
go ahead,
You're right about
Eric.
LeBron though, right? Like they point out that he's been married, like they were high school sweethearts. They've been married for years.
No, they
and
get
years and
like
years.
athletes get young married and they stick with the
Because it's
woman.
the person
Some,
they know.
I think
that
it's just it's hard because like that's true. There are some that are like hardcore married, get married young, or like start dating in high school. You know, they've been together all the way through college. But I would not say the majority at all, and so that's why we don't think of it. I think
not
actually
all athletes, but the majority of the stars, I think, are.
Steph Curry.
I don't agree.
I think it's part of the brand.
Way more common to be able to name people who are not either like they have children with someone, you know, instead of wedlock, not to sound like a 100-year-old grandma, but they have children, they're not in stable relationships, they have different girlfriends, whatever else. I think that's way more common. I think the media would just like it, and so occasionally they give more press coverage to the people who are married. I don't think it's the majority, and I think that's kind of sad. And it's a whole different conversation about the destruction of the family.
My favorite is now that like Steph Curry, like they in their mansion, they like basically like they were gonna build like a low income housing project outside of their home, and they're like no thank you,
Yeah.
not on my watch. So they like
Not
put
in my
up like
backyard.
trees and stuff to like so they wouldn't have to see the poor people.
The guy that
Exactly.
Snyder, who just sold the team, he actually did the opposite. He cut trees down, like really historic trees, just so he could see the river from his house.
That's
well,
terrible.
the river is not poor people.
They made him replant the trees.
Yeah.
So.
That should be merch. The river
is not poor people. We'll do a PCC award show someday. It'll just be called award show.
Well, I will
Awards.
say I loved when the Hoteps came on IRL and they were like, we have the Grifties, which like that is
awesome.
the award show
Yeah.
that we need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, name one person who's won an award who could not also have campaigned for a Grifty.
I think Bucko was on the
Really?
Grifties because
That's so
he
funny.
like popped in.
Oh, that reminds me. I didn't even do. In fact, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't do cute and cringe of the day today.
Okay, and should we read any of these super chats?
Let's go through. Let's go ahead and start some super chats. There, go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. Big Dave stopped by and said nothing, but we appreciate his support.
Sweet. What's up, Dave?
James Orenthal Nguyen says Mara's never visible in the wide, so holla at HCB. Is that Mary?
I think it means Mary.
You guys have someone else? The
why
Mara.
you know? Why am I-
Tacti Platty says Dane roast me senpai.
This guy's always asking me to senpai. That's adorable. This guy's always asking me to roast him.
It's like the
Are you
Findom
gonna do it?
stuff.
Do it right now.
He's a boomer. Like his existence is a roast.
Let's do two more.
Okay, and Quite Black Pill says finally Dane's back. Got a huge backlog. I can't read. There's a fire emoji, and then it says Lex Friedman content to send you. Oh, okay. Now I'm understanding the sentence. He has a backlog of fire Lex Friedman content. Question mark
I
there. How do you spell your X/Twitter handle again?
Go ahead. Go for it, Dane.
DANEFONT.
Perfect.
Old memes. I love that they remember the old memes.
Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back. Speaking, I want to do cute and cringe of the day very, very quickly because Dane just mentioned Bucko very graciously, and I do have Bucko for cute of the day. I decided to just. I wasn't getting a lot of submissions. I ended up getting submissions for cute of the day after the fact, so I decided to submit myself. Not me, but of Bucko. So here's an adorable picture of Bucko. Yes,
He's so handsome.
he is.
Wow.
He's looking very judgmental.
It does feel sort of corrupt that you're like I chose my own.
I
photo.
chose my own cringe, my own cute of the day.
Going Brecco cringe. Aw, I love when cats like roll up in a ball like this. They're so cute.
There he is. So that is cute of the day. I had
the
one more
Firefox
here.
symbol.
This is from Remy on Twitter. Says 2-year-old German Shepherd named Axel, and his tongue looks like truck nuts.
I don't know about the last part, but
I was getting I
that's
did
a
notice
very
his
good
tongue,
dog.
but I was getting a bone shape.
Yeah.
I didn't go the truck route.
All right, and I the only reason I came back for cringe of the day, Kellen, is because I knew you'd want to see this one. We've got this one.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and watch cringe of
Dane,
the
have
day,
you
ladies
seen
and
this?
gentlemen. Watch
Oh
at
my
your
God, it's so
own
good.
peril. It's the shorter version, though. It's the shorter version.
As
So here-
long as they get the
Think of
last
the ice
part.
cream. Ice cream, so good. Think of the ice cream. Think of the heart me. I heart you too. Think of the glizzies.
What?
100 glizzies and drink glizzy overdrive.
we're literally losing Kellen.
I think we
stumbling
broke-
around in the back.
broke
Grip
Kellen.
by 7%.
Oh my God.
Locked in. Thank you for over 160 glizzies and drink glizzy overdrive.
You okay, buddy?
Think of the ice cream.
That's your cringe of the day.
I feel like I should get workers' comp for having had to watch that.
My new favorite
I don't like it
video.
at all.
Dude, you know what I've learned recent? I've learned to stop saying I do whatever for X. Because I'm sure this dork
Glizzy overdrive.
at one point says I do whatever to be famous. And here
Now he
is.
really is.
Giving glizzies.
No, see, so there's another clip here, Brett. You see it. This is a total character he's playing because he.
But he is doing it on the internet with his own
That's
face.
hilarious. He's a comedian. He's a prop comic, basically.
Is he a comedian? I feel like it's fair that anyone can just like make a slightly humorous video, although that wasn't humorous at all,
That was
and be like,
insane.
"I'm a comedian." Like, surely there's more
Oh
of a
wait,
threshold.
is he a comedian? He's just pretending to be one
No,
of these.
he has another one. I don't even have it up here.
He makes himself laugh. Like he knows it's a big joke.
There's another one where he does it where he goes, no, he says, he talks in the voice and says, F you to all the haters. And like, you know, he just wants to be able to talk about how he's overcoming the hate. It's amazing.
Is he?
It's
Is he,
amazing.
though?
It's amazing.
I don't think he's overcoming the self-loathing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, there's no way you do this and it's serious.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's the world we live in, guys. So that's your cringe of the day. I hope I didn't break anyone's brain.
Glizzy overdrive.
I hope I didn't break anyone's brain too much. All right, let's move on, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
there's a spider at my station now.
Okay, well that's too bad.
Oh.
Get rid
Kellen's
of it.
going through a lot this
He's
episode.
having a rough one, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. So I want to talk a little bit about Disney.
No one cared.
Because
I'm sorry. That's funny.
okay, guys, I want to talk about Disney.
Guys, Brett has a thing he wants us to do.
Are we done?
Nobody interrupt. Brett
we
needs to
done?
talk
Still
now.
a spider
There's a
here.
$20.
No one interrupt Brett.
There's a
Don't
$20 one there from Clint. Stop it.
I don't have it yet, but that would be cool.
It's-
I have it.
yeah.
Okay. Clint Torres says Kellen has been rolling 20s all episode. He'd make a great trade.
Great
It's like
trade.
baseball.
Thank you.
Who are we trading for, though?
People that
Yeah, I don't know.
will
That's a good question.
stay on topic. That's who we're
Are we
trading
trading
for.
you two? Do you remember we had like, I don't know if they ever ended up putting it in the vlog, but we talked about having a bit where like Timcast Media like trades people like the way you would trade baseball players to like the Blaze or to Daily Wire
Like
and
we
stuff like
trade
that.
Ian for like Ben Shapiro or
No.
something.
Yeah. It's like, we'll give you all of pop culture, but you have to give us
All right.
Ben Shapiro or like something like
We'll
that.
give you Ian and Brett on Thursdays for Ben Shapiro.
Like, are we swapping
Boom.
you for Brett Cooper? They get you and we get Brett
Oh,
Cooper?
Brett for Brett.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean
interesting.
I would
that's a
never.
huge L for the Daily Wire if they get stuck with me. But like, let's
so
guys,
up on
so
it.
self-deprecating and
we're gonna-
humble. Ladies, he's on Twitter and Instagram. Just DM him right away. He'd make a great dad. He likes hockey. He will coach your
How
small
awesome
children.
would it be if he just showed up in her studio one day? Like it's still her show, but it's Brett in front of the camera.
Are we done, ladies and gentlemen?
I don't know. Are you
done?
married? Did my pitch to a wife work?
Yes, it did. I'm already married. Guys, we're going to move on. I want to talk
This
about
is why
Disney
Brett
for a little
stopped
bit.
asking me to come on. He's
I
like,
want
just
to talk
keeps
about
talking about my
Disney
love
for a little
life.
bit. I want to talk about Disney for a little bit
Switch
because
the
their
camera.
stock has dropped 50% and in the last 2 years, and way more. Are you okay there, buddy?
I'm good. Sorry.
Are you married?
Yes,
I
I'm
am.
married. Guys, I want to show this video. Let's just show the video. Let's
Oh, yeah,
go-
you
go ahead.
are.
Let's show the video so they can see the video of the guy outside of Disneyland. And let me know what you think about this, if you think this is a problem or not.
So my name's Nick. I'm one of Fairy Godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day.
That was it.
Thoughts? No, the point is they're saying that they've got a man dressed in women's clothes outside.
The mustache is much more offensive to me.
The fact that he's got a mustache.
Yeah, if you're gonna dress like a woman, you got to shave it, man. Come on.
This has been going on for I think at least 6 months. I remember the Timcast news team covered it a little while ago. I think the strange thing is that like there are parents who are like, no problem, we'll still take our kid there. You know, like when this came up, I knew a lot of parents who were like, I remember taking my child when she was young there, and now I would never do that. In some ways, Disney is robbing kids of what could be really fun, or probably slightly overpriced experience.
Very overpriced experience.
To then say, like, we can do whatever we want, and we know you will continue to show up. And I think that's kind of sick, right?
Well, that's what they're proving, right? Is that people will end up showing up anyways. And the average person isn't really aware of just how much the culture has shifted. At least in my opinion, I think that the average person, they're busy with work, they're busy with kids, they're busy with all of these other things, and they're not paying attention to these aspects of the culture as they change so drastically. One of the things they talk about is getting rid of gendered language at Disney. So, like, you're not even allowed, you know, they're not going to be talking boys and girls.
Dude,
because that's
dumb.
offensive.
Because, like, I always thought about this when you enter a room of your friends and it's guys and girls. You don't say, hey, guys and girls. You say, hey, guys, how you doing? And no one's ever had a problem with it. No one's ever took issue with it, you know?
Not until recently.
But now it's like you're supposed to say folks, right? Like they want to erase gendered language. I think that's so
I've doubled down.
Or comrades, that was one I saw on a list. Interesting.
When we covered the girl who made the video about how she had to like prepare to go see a Taylor Swift concert by wearing like basically like a rebreather to like cycle out her own oxygen so she wouldn't supposedly get COVID at this event. And then she talks about how she brought like masks to give away for free for people and nobody wanted one. But also like did a thing where she went to like one of the SAG rallies and was giving out masks to show support for all of the actors. And in the flyer,
but a little bit of
in the flyer, it said comrades because they're all communists.
Yes, of course.
I got a question.
Yes.
You're a millennial, right?
Yeah. I'm like right at the end, I think.
You're Gen Z.
It depends on which source you look at. I'm either the youngest millennial or the oldest Gen Z.
Yeah, that's what I would get. I'd either get I was the oldest Gen Z, but I think I'm actually just like end of millennial.
Because
depends what you look at.
There was a
Gen
study
Z.
that came out recently, so that the men are becoming like increasingly conservative and the girls are becoming increasingly.
I don't buy it. I'm not sold on that. If conservatives are, I don't want to get political, but if conservatives are banking on like young men to save the day in 24, they're in for a sad, sad day.
My question is that between the Gen Z themselves, like, do you feel like there's a big divide between men and women? In general, for anything cultural,
the dating culture stuff has done that more.
Yeah, there is. But there also
that's more millennial, I think.
We're like, because we grew up with the internet, right? Like we're so apathetic and indifferent to like politics and most of this culture war nonsense.
Yeah.
But when we do have an opinion, it's way over the top. You know, that's the thing. A lot of it, we're very like nihilist, or we don't
Mary
care.
would agree with you about that.
Yeah, we really don't care what's going on.
I feel like you guys are like the unmarketable generation. It's so impossible
because the only thing that works is the people that they aren't marketed to by a corporation.
Because because we kind of saw the what is next? Alpha is what's after us.
Yes.
There I'd be a little bit more wary about because they grew up exclusively with the internet.
Oh, I'm worried about you guys.
We had it introduced to us. We kind of saw both worlds.
See, I think younger Gen Z grew up exclusively with the internet too. I think it's the tail end of millennial, beginning of Gen Z that grew up with like introduction to it. You were still remembering dial-up internet or like whatever else.
The old world.
There's a super chat there from DD McAdoo.
Yes. He says, hello all, Brett, HCB, Dane, the main attraction font. That's amazing. And Kellen, I'm hijacking this crisis party for my birthday. Happy Friday, y'all.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dude. Also, the main is spelled A-N-E, so it's you got amazing hair. Happy birthday, buddy.
I like the one right before it from Quite Black Pill that says, you good, Brett? You seem stressed.
Well, I wonder why.
I don't know why.
Gee, I have no idea. Why would I be stressed?
I have no idea.
But my point between why I wanted to ask you this question, Kelly, because I think that this is like an issue that's like the lines are the sexist more than, political things.
Yeah.
Because I think in some ways, because, I mean, Hannah Claire, I'm sure you know that most women aren't conservative.
No, they're not. I mean, there are studies that say women become more conservative after they get married.
Yeah.
But just like anecdotally, I've worked in like single sex schools, like an all girls school versus all boys schools, and consistently, I mean, all schools tend to tack liberal these days. We know that, but women's schools tend to be very progressive, and that's not true for like single sex all boys high schools. They are more mixed or lean slightly conservative in comparison. I think one of the issues, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, is that just generally the bar for what makes you conservative has really shifted. Like it does not take much, and so sometimes I wonder if the newest generation of men are conservative, like what you would think of, if what your
I don't think they are.
80s Reagan voting Republicans would accept.
Conservative
I don't think they're conservative because I think they're like 2008 Obama voters almost.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the
Because
independent and
there are Obama voters that would be considered, you know,
conservative.
moderate or not
Yeah.
conservative or not progressive enough these days.
So I was thinking about what you asked me, and I think like with social media and all this stuff that you're seeing, how everyone's becoming so kind of tribal and polarized. I think the women are kind of getting impacted by it at a faster rate than the men are. Both sexes, just whatever it is, whether it's new critical race theory, right? Whether it's new fringe educational topics that we're talking about, whether it's the climate agenda and stuff like that, whatever social issue you want to take, I think the more extreme take on it, no matter what take that is, I think women are finding that opinion faster than men are. Men are kind of just dragging their feet in the mud.
See, I almost wonder if it's that men are more resistant to some of the changes. Like they are not seeing the quote unquote benefits of a lot of the cultural changes that we've had.
Yeah.
And so
It's like,
they
leave me
are
alone.
looking for like, well, I want to split off from society and, you know, do something different, and that brings them back to more traditional and more conservative values.
But then they have corporations like Disney that are pushing them the other way. Also, Jordan Peterson got in on this and said, "Hey, Iger, stock price not low enough for you." He was talking about that video because their stock has dropped so successfully. 5 out of their 6 releases at Disney this year have all failed to make even a cent.
Oh, I meant
They've
you
all lost
mentioned
money.
this earlier. I don't want to get off topic to what we're talking about, Dane, but what Disney, you said they lost money for the first time in 9 years?
The stock price is the lowest it's been in 9 years.
What? I'm curious to their
happened 9 years
major
ago?
IP purchases around that time. Was that 2014?
They purchased Lucasfilm in 2012, I believe.
Okay.
I could be guys. Somebody fact check me.
Because I'm wondering.
Thank you guys. That's how I win. They can interrupt me all they want, but I get to blow their eardrums out.
Bugle horn.
it's a very healthy work environment here. Don't worry.
Can somebody let me know what year they bought Lucasfilm? Because I believe they bought Marvel in 2000.
Do you think this 9-year
Can I
high
read the
they're
$20
riding-
one?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just love it. How does Hannah Clara wear her hat with her brim low? I'll see myself out.
Oh my
That
gosh,
is from
amazing.
Sean M. Davis. Thank you,
Wow.
Sean. That was very,
Thank
very
you for
good.
spending the money to interrupt the conversation. That was really
Dude, can
solid.
I say, as I get older, the worse jokes are and the less people laugh, the more I like them.
Do you think that's a sign you're going to become a dad
I
soon?
think so.
Yeah, it's coming.
I think so.
Do you ever see that SNL skit about like the cut, and it's a bunch of moms being like, "No, you don't become a mom when you have a kid. It's when you get like the haircut that like
the Karen cut?
Karen cut." I feel like when you start being like, "Well, that joke is actually very funny," it's like fatherhood is creeping up on you.
There's
Dude,
a couple
I
of
love
really
terrible
great
jokes.
dad joke channels where it's like the son and it's him and his dad make these like TikToks where he slowly becomes his dad. So it's like it's them out to eat at a restaurant and like a waitress comes up and says, "How was your meal?" And like they both look at their plates, which are empty, and his shoes become New Balances with high socks.
Oh, I've seen that one.
And he says, "Clearly, I hated it." Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's
the dad
amazing.
is like
Yeah, and him and the dad both have this thing where it's just great, right? And that's wholesome content. And another reason why the internet or things like the streamies are going to become more relevant, because that's just made by some guy. Some guy and his dad make these videos. It's not being mass produced.
populist
It's
approach.
not being made by a corporation. It's just being made by a guy in his house, and that resonates more with people than something made by a corporation like Disney, which had 5 of its 6 movies this year all fail. Several of which, like Indiana Jones, were made for people who are older who just chose not to go see it. Right? The internet is the future, whether we like it or not.
Dude, I'm telling you. I mean, I know I've been saying this at this point for years, but we were talking. So there's this riot strike going on, right? And companies like Disney, like their movie portfolio, it's like scheduled for years. Now that they've had a damper in sales, now that they got some time where they can't produce stuff, I don't know if Disney's affected by these stuff. Is it, Brett?
Right now,
Yeah.
all of them are affected. I mean, they're
Cool.
pushing release dates back because of the strike.
I bet right now they are cooking up the next psyop that's past woke.
A lot of people think that they're just going to end up getting bailed out by the government.
Oh, that's nice.
That does seem reasonable.
Hollywood gets
do
bailed.
that.
They got bailed out during COVID. They absolutely got bailed out during COVID. They got
Let's
huge.
do
You know,
that.
15 years ago, I could make an argument for bailing them out because that's the last real export we have in this country, but not in 2023.
Let's just crash this
No.
ship. Let's do it.
Very accelerationist of you.
But like, if we're, if they're broke and we're still sending Indiana Jones overseas and like, Terminator, RoboCop, the classic 80s
but our
movies.
values are even more so becoming less and less compatible with other countries because America is becoming more and more progressive.
Why are we trying to fit into their mold? Take it or leave it, man.
But that's
we're not
what's
changing
happening.
our movie.
But we are changing.
I
them.
know we shouldn't.
We then try to change them to try to squeeze that last few drops out of their economy. Barbie did great in China. Barbie made money in China. Like nobody thought it would.
Margot Robbie's hot.
And because Barbie's already an established brand, right? Like Barbie lore, Barbie merch, vintage Barbie apparel, all of that stuff still sells.
There's also there's a weird cultural phenomenon that just like Americans love to get tan, certain countries in Asia, they like to get lighter. So like this idea of porcelain Barbie is very appealing to a lot of people overseas.
Also, guys, 80% of Disney's in-house visual effects team have officially signaled that they want to unionize. So these companies, it's really funny because Bob Chapek is the one that everybody hated because they would falsely accuse him of being like a big Trump guy because he was a numbers guy. He was just like, look, if this won't make money, I want it.
That's so funny.
I want it to make money, and they're like, that's awful.
You are crazy.
But now they hate Bob Iger because Bob Iger's like, this strike is ridiculous. So they hate all of them now. Like Disney's kind of floundering. So take it or leave it, guys. We're gonna still have to go see the movies. We'll still have to go see the damn Rachel Zegler Snow White when it comes out. Can't wait.
Dude, that's crazy that they haven't put a muzzle on her.
They have. Everything that you're watching are resurfaced clips. She can't speak about any of these projects right now because she's on strike. She's not allowed to speak about ongoing clips. Everything you're watching is resurfaced.
Which also means she can't respond to the comments,
exactly.
right?
Well, that's what
hilarious.
Entertainment Tonight released this like video with like piano music of her talking about how grateful she is, and it's so apparent and transparent
a pay.
that it was made by her PR team and then fed to Entertainment Tonight to try and rehab her image. But unfortunately, the term you only get a one chance at a good first impression is true, and she spoiled herself for everybody.
I don't get why literally everyone in entertainment, if you're a woman, it's like, so we want you to be an ugly, insufferable bitch. Can you do that?
Here's what
She's like, I'm on it.
I'm still having trouble. Maybe you guys can help me, and that's why I'm going to bring it up. But
I'll try.
This idea that America has a supply and demand problem when it comes to people that are discriminated against. It's a discrimination supply and demand problem, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, everyone wants to fight it, and there's very little of it to go around. And that's why hate crimes and discrimination and actual evil and racism. There's very little of it going around in 2023. Yet the expectation to see it every day is at an all-time high, right? And so people are feeling like there's a void. They're like, I need to fight for something. Like the problem's out there, and so then you end up getting Rachel Zeglers that are absolutely going to war with a movie from 50 years ago for no reason.
But I think it's like an 18% of the population that they're drama addicts and they're addicted. And the thing is, like,
women.
And the thing is that if you, they're addicted, so if you take it away from them, they have withdrawals. And so basically, we're feeding these like drama crack addicts so they don't destroy the universe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it is one thing. We've definitely haven't stopped the behavior or corrected it. We've let it on. That's like the whole like totally given the crybabies everything they've wanted for 10 years now.
Dude, but they're gonna get their comeuppance. Like I keep saying, like we're all due a good laugh, and with all these, especially with it's not Huffington Post. It's basically the same. BuzzFeed. Yeah. BuzzFeed saying that they're gonna have AI articles. Brother, like what job are you gonna have when you are writing about 5 outfits for my lesbian cat.
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Well, the BuzzFeed one is funny because they had such big layoffs, and then they were like, "Yeah, and we don't even need to replace them because we have AI. Like, you guys are actually useless." Like, insult to injury. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's like it's not going to really hurt these companies because it costs very little to have AI run articles for you and publish them every day. Like in terms of paying for insurance and paying employee salaries and paying for a building, like they're going to be paying nothing to run these new websites with AI.
Yeah.
So who cares if the content's trash? It doesn't cost them anything.
They just need a couple people to upload, and that's it.
Make sure the servers are going, and which they're going to outsource to a company. They're not going to have any IT people on the team. You know.
All right, let's go ahead and get to some super chats there, shall we, Hannah Claire?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, well, this is an unexpected surprise in terms of co-host. It's nice to see Big Daddy Dane back after leaving to get us some milk and cigarettes.
I got it.
Have you seen the one?
I left the cigarettes.
Where it's like a guy goes, when your son gets drafted to the NBA, and it's just a guy in front of a door. All you see is his legs from the legs down, and then just a gallon of milk appears.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Jimmy Bags 86 says, welcome back, Dane. New hair color for HCB? ? I don't know if that's in response to me saying you have to dye your hair blue. And
Did you dye your hair?
No, I haven't dyed my hair.
It's probably just that we have neon lights in the studio. The other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, I want to point, like, we've been having this argument recently on this podcast about whether men care about women's eyelashes or not.
It's one of those things that we don't, but when we see a good pair of eyelashes, we'll say something.
I think it's not that you guys
Same goes
care
for eyebrows
explicitly.
and
It's not like
earlobes.
you're combing girls for eyelashes, but I do think that, like, just like all makeup or features, like, if you have it, it can frame your face differently.
Then I don't want to hear crap from women who say, like, he didn't notice my hair color was different. If he doesn't notice your hair color is different, he's not paying
My
attention
thing
to
is,
your
like,
eyelashes.
when you see a girl like, with no eyelashes, it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things that we don't care until we care.
Yeah, I was gonna say my eyelashes are blonde. Like, you can't see them unless I'm wearing mascara. So I will say I would look weird without them, in my personal opinion. I know there's a big no mascara movement right now among the ladies.
What's that new eyebrow thing that all the e-girls are doing?
I don't know.
It just looks like a really unruly, kind of very
like
bushy.
laminating their eyebrows, trying to make them
I
big.
have no idea. Maybe.
Like, eyebrows trend, right? Like, just like everything for women, they're always trying to make each other buy new products. So sometimes, like, the super skinny eyebrows are popular right now. The bigger ones are. Disco Jensen says, mid curse of sports and video games movies.
I love most, like, maybe I'm just, like, everybody's got their genre, right? You've got a genre that you lean into that you might give more leeway than other genres.
Oh, yeah.
A decent sports movie to me probably ranks higher because I enjoy stories about people overcoming the odds and stuff like that, because it's not shadowy forces from the government. It's not years of oppression and this and that. It's a dude, he had like a physical handicap, or he had to get better at something. It's about somebody proactively achieving a goal that's tangible.
Hold on, I have to look up the name of my favorite sports movie of all time.
I like dirty comedy, so there's nothing being done for me in
No,
the millennium.
not unless you like unless you want to see bottoms.
Well, you know, unfortunately, I feel like the internet has ruined dirty comedies in a way too, because that before you went to the theater and that was your escape, that was your release. You saw that crazy dirty jokes. Now they're everywhere.
To Brett's point, I think I was thinking about this since I asked the question. I was thinking, what is the best sports movie that I have ever seen? And I used to be partial to A League of Their Own because it meant I could watch a movie instead of go to softball practice. It meant that it was raining that day. But I have to say, we need to acknowledge the cult classic Cool Runnings, which of course tells the story of people really overcoming incredible challenges.
This is now, we're no longer in the biopic. Actually, that was a biopic, wasn't it?
Yes, it's based off a true story.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Yeah. That movie is also, I saw
iconic.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, sorry, I'm in charge of keeping it.
Yes.
Okay, I shouldn't be in charge of anything right now. Disco Jensen says, let's jump right into it.
Yes, we're jumping right in.
And then Victor Von Derp says, the OF idea isn't new. If you want to give money away so that you can pretend someone loves you, you can swap. You can always go to the traditional route and get married. Ooh, a little cynical, I see.
Also, we missed one up top here from Mike Garland, who says Goon with Sean William Scott, based on Doug Smith's hockey career. Yep, and see Slapshot if you've never seen the movie Slapshot, of course.
It lives in here now.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Boosted yogis.
Oh, we already did those because those
it's
were $20. We
Hold on.
got a Disco Jensen one for $5, but with no message. So
Wow.
that one's good. We'll hold off on the rest. We will come
should try to
back,
tip the
ladies and
crisis
gentlemen.
meter, I think.
Yes. Let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney because he was at the Streamies, ladies and gentlemen.
Why?
Dylan Mulvaney won an award for Breakout Creator of the Year.
Oh, it wasn't selling alcohol to minors?
No,
It wasn't a grifty. I don't understand how anyone could win the grifty here except for Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah. Let's watch the video of Dylan's acceptance speech, shall
Oh,
we?
Dylan.
Why?
Ah, the voice.
You know, I'm really shocked because I thought the only award I would ever maybe win was maybe a Tony Award, but now I'm a musical theater gal with a streamy.
Gal, question mark.
Theater TikTok, we made it to the
Community notes.
mainstream. 532 days ago, I made a coming out video that turned into my Days of Girlhood series. And my life has been changed for the better. But on the flip side, there's also been an extreme amount of transphobia and hate. And I know that my community is feeling it, and I now know that even our allies are feeling it. And I look around this room and I just see so many amazing allies that have platforms. And I think allyship right now needs to look differently, and
Give
you
me
need to
more money.
support trans people publicly.
Wait.
And
Dylan's really telling them that they're still
and
not
proudly.
woke enough.
Yes.
And
They're not
I
giving
think the
Dylan
trans
enough money.
community and the creator community actually have something in common, and it's that people often underestimate us. But I know that we can stay optimistic about just the future of transness in general, because if we can influence people to buy $22 Air One smoothies, we can also do this. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna go have a beer, and I love you.
But what brand of beer? What brand of beer?
Yes.
Yeah, crash another company.
What I
And our
find
allies
interesting-
are feeling it. No specific support or shout out to that company.
Dude.
Interesting.
It
What's-
took 30 seconds to make it about identity.
Well, I was just
Well, it
going
was
to say.
always about identity. Who got the award?
This is what I was just talking about with the supply and demand problem. There is like all these people in the crowd that think they're fighting the good fight, right? There is no end. There is no end because they think they're doing so well. It's finally their night to celebrate how great and high their ESG scores are, right? And then Dylan gets on stage. It's like, we need to do more.
Base.
You need
Because
to do more.
they need to justify their existence. You're never done. The
Also-
work is never done.
This is Dylan's business. If there's not something to complain about or to get attention for, there's no money to be made. Like, this is capitalism, team.
Dylan Mulvaney is. It's scary how good Dylan Mulvaney is at doing what he does.
If you're a conspiracy theorist at the very beginning,
Go
when
on.
he makes the joke about I knew I'd win a Tony Award, well, that gives the whole it kind of gives ammunition to the whole idea that this whole character is just one giant elaborate sketch
Yes.
that Dylan Mulvaney is putting together.
I think that's
I
what
don't
it
even
is.
know anymore.
I think maybe it
Well,
started
no.
that way and now like
Dylan Mulvaney really was like trying to make it on Broadway.
I know.
So that would
It was
make
the
sense.
Book of
that you were like,
Mormon.
oh, perhaps I'll
Yeah.
win a Tony. Like, that's the award for that industry. We were talking about this earlier. But I just think ultimately this is the wrong award. I stand by. We need to nominate Dylan Mulvaney for a grifty. And I don't understand why, it's
I
just
like
dumb.
Mr. Beast's
I don't have anything
performance.
interesting to say about it.
No,
It's just
it's
annoying.
crazy to me because we have turned so much of our culture. It's no longer about the individual. It used to matter who you were. Like, I don't want to hear about what Dylan Mulvaney's struggles mean for trans people. I would rather, like, if I have to care, I'd rather care about what Dylan Mulvaney's struggles mean for them as an individual. But they don't care about the individual. All they care about is your
Right.
immutable characteristics and what they can do to make it about who they are as a large-scale identity.
Well, it's
meaning
just
you and all
hyper-
the other people who identify with you.
even if you care about that stuff, like you're hyper focusing and spending way too much time on such a small fraction of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're completely fixated on it.
Oh yeah, it's everything.
Which is
it's
sad.
everything. It's so terrible.
It makes me think, like, if you're a parent and your kid comes to you and is like, I think I might be, whatever, gender ambiguous in some strange way, like, obviously have compassion for them. It's hard to be a teenager and figure out who you are, especially when the media feeds you such crazy information. But then also I would hope that your conversation would be like, well, why don't we focus on the other parts of you, like what your interests are, what your school life is like how are your friend groups, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, if you're completely obsessed with basically your genitalia and your sexual orientation, that's not a healthy way to live.
And teenagers have been confused for decades.
Since the beginning of time. It's what they're famous for.
Yeah.
You know what I think a lot of
it's
it
not
is?
new, but now they're saying, oh, the reason you're confused is because of this new fringe theory that we've come up with. It's like, dude, they've always been confused.
Also, should we just make their entire lives about who they might sleep with when they grow up? Like, I just don't think that's right.
I know.
You know what I think it is in a lot of ways? I think it's a market reaction to the fact that, like, they talk now about when they ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody says doctor or astronaut anymore. They all say one thing.
Influencer. Yeah.
YouTuber or
NBA.
influencer.
Marketing man extraordinaire.
And when you do that, you make your own identity your brand. So it's become about all of the brand all of the aspects of your personality that you can brand and sell to the world, and these are fashionable brands to sell to the world.
They're saying, I just want to be professionally obsessed with myself.
Yeah, that in a lot of ways,
kind of funny.
And it's a way to raise money based off your own struggles and your own hardships, which valorizes yourself and allows you to feel amazing about who you are. And I laugh because at the end of the day, these are all still people that live here in the greatest country in the world, one of the safest and most prosperous countries to ever, the safest and most prosperous country to ever exist. Like, you talk to people from other countries and they look at these things and they say, what the hell do you Americans have to complain about, really? Really?
Can I say something?
Of course you can. This is America.
Okay, well, honored. It's a bit cringe because I haven't been married for long. But I gotta say, I think a lot of this is that people, now more so than ever, they don't have something, an institution, a bond, or anything that kind of takes them outside of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because I was engaged for kind of like half a year, and I've been married for a very little time. But since then, since I got engaged, like, everything in my life and in my mentality has been my wife, my future family, and like the road and the infrastructure that we're building. And I think a lot of the infantilization of like current people is that they don't have any of that, and a lot of them feel like they won't have any of that. And so it becomes this like narcissistic circle where it's like my career, my body, my this, my that. And you know, there's a lot of not religious people either, so they don't even have like that community. Yeah. So I feel like a really big, for me it was like a big solution is for the culture. I mean, it's really hard to prescribe something to people in general. It's like you have to have something where you are not the center of it.
Yeah, and even if it's not religion, people don't have their communities like they used to have their communities. You go into the city and you don't have that same connection you had with the people that lived in your neighborhood.
It's such a yin and yang, the whole kit and caboodle. Like, because this idea, it's like it's forcing people to become more individualistic, right? We're not going out. We're staying in our rooms and we're popping open the cell phones. But then we're trying to be part of community.
Yeah, it's not even individualism. It's focusing. It's narcissistic focusing.
But the end result
on yourself,
is,
but how you relate to a larger group.
But the end result is individual, not good individual. It's isolation is a better word, because you are not connecting with people. You are alone. Like your habits when you go out, you're afraid to talk to strangers. Right, your friends are digital. Yeah. Right? They might not even live within 25 miles, 100 miles of you.
You could have never met them in person.
You could have never met them. So it's like you're getting this weird juxtaposition between like...
You're part of a larger group, but you're more narcissistic than you've ever been.
Yeah.
And I think there is something to be said for, like Dane is talking about, when you have strong ties to community that require you to think not only about what your collective values and desires and goals are, but also how your failures may or may not be a part of them, right? Like influencer culture in some way, and this isn't true for every single one, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but it rewards narcissism, right? It rewards saying that my interests and my needs and what I want, I have to prioritize above everything else. Yeah. It rewards selfishness in a way that really truly being a part of community requires a certain amount of humility.
Yeah.
I mean, as Dane is the most married person in this room, I'm sure he can talk about this. There has to be a time where you are not putting yourself above everything else. It's okay to have ambition and goals and to think about what would make you happy. On the other hand, I think you are ultimately allowing essentially your soul to wither and die when you're not pouring into it by saying, what can I do for the people I love and care
about? There was the video of Dylan overseas, like on a trip overseas by herself, and it's like it almost looks like they're trying to convince themselves that they're happy. Like that lady who did the one where she's like, you don't have to go. She was like in front of the pyramids and she's like by herself with a Diet Coke, and the whole video is like basically saying like, you don't need to be married to go travel. And the general consensus from the comments was like, it looks like you're trying too hard to be happy.
You wouldn't need to make that argument if you were happy about it. You just would be like,
you would
yeah,
need to
and
make
I
the
went
video.
to travel, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like when people make the videos, they're like my haters can't get to me. It's like they can't get to you so much that you had to make a video telling people how they can't get to you. Like nobody buys that.
Yeah.
Like it's too upfront. It doesn't work. Right. And so for a lot of this stuff is one, we've taken away the ability to prioritize how we see mental health with these types of cases. I saw something recently that the person who came up with, like one of the people who originated trans terminology or something was saying that like it is a mental health concern. But then they're saying like that person got discredited.
You're not allowed to say that.
You're not allowed to say that. So.
Which is crazy because we have such an epidemic of loneliness in this country that I think being able to acknowledge that the things that we do to tear each other apart and to say that you feel alien from other people, that you are different, but not in like a, I like that who I am and I'm unique, in a like, I'm different and people are therefore trying to hold it against me or punish me in some way. This allows this victimhood, which again, further reinforces isolation, which again, destroys the things that ultimately we need to have a strong culture, society, values.
When you have strong community bonds, it increases the value of your solo time. You know, your personal time, your time that you can be creative and be individual, right? And it's like, I think you said, like, what's the difference between being an individual and being lonely? I think it's really just the mindset that you have. You know, a lot of people are by themselves and you know what? They worked 6 days a week and they're exhausted, 10-hour days. They're just beat. So they're completely okay with not talking to a soul on their day off and just sitting down and relaxing. There's other people, they work 1 day a week. They're sick. They cannot stand being in that house, you know? So it's like when you have a sense of purpose, it just kind of enriches the other areas of your life. And especially when it's community, it makes all those times that you have by yourself just better, you know, because you value your time more.
I would love to start like a guys group, like where dudes just like hang out. But that doesn't get labeled.
I get it.
That doesn't get labeled as a terrorist organization.
It's called No Chicks Allowed. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to put it in an actual treehouse.
Well, they
a very negative way to present Dane's very wonderful idea.
They do that though, but like I'm almost afraid that like even this is going to get villainized. But they do like daddy-daughter dances, right, and stuff like that. So it's like they do have events for the dads, for the men.
I don't even like
you need to get to the family first.
I don't even like the use of like the term girl dad or boy mom. I hate that.
What does that mean?
It's like it's like a hashtag that parents use, and then like so it's like if it's a dad, he's going out and he's taking his daughter skiing, and they're skiing. And
well, you're just a dad.
It's dad. It's girl dad, meaning that it's a way to further self-segregate ourselves into smaller groups.
Yeah,
and it never
just trying to feel special.
I don't know.
For doing
I go back and forth on that
does.
because I do think that like I have known men who have become first-time dads, and like their instinct just say like, well, obviously I want a healthy baby, but I think I want a boy because I was a boy, like know how to like I feel like I can relate to it. Like I think there is a place to say that like parenthood is complicated, and seeing like if you have a bunch of daughters and you're a dad who feels intimidated, being able to say like other dads who are doing it, what do they do well, what's working. I don't think that's bad. I think to Dane's point, this like idea of community actually is like pre-marriage and family though, because married people hopefully have a healthy community that's already established.
There's a super chat, a $50 super chat there from Beanbag Actual. Thank you, Beanbag.
Oh, 3 crisis parties in 8 finishes the Fast and Furious movie.
How's that going?
The thing is, where do you stream them without paying for a streaming service? I'm working on it. I think I'm on I think I'm like halfway
You
through.
know,
I'm
all
not going to
this-
lie to you guys.
all
It's
this-
slow, but eventually I will finish it. There was a day that Tim was like, it's fine. We'll order pizza and we'll just put them on all day and like you'll crank it out on Friday. But I had to go out of town that week.
Sure.
And so it sort of fell apart.
She like made sure to have to go out of town.
No, we were on the show. You were there. I'm
All of
sorry,
this
guys. I'm
talk-
letting y'all down.
all
I'm
of
trying
this
my
talk
best.
about community, and she doesn't know anything about family.
Damn.
I was waiting to get that in there.
I'm leaving now. Bye.
Gosh, that's a rough one, man. I was reading this meme earlier from this article from 2021 that was saying they want to do that. Apparently, Universal wants to do a Fast and the Furious Jurassic World crossover.
But
And I was like,
why?
let's go. I mean, the Transformers
You gotta
one
get
is the obvious
Transformers
one,
in there, too.
But a Jurassic World one where Dom is running from a T-Rex in his Charger would be freaking hilarious.
And it's like, or like it's him and Optimus running.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Ooh, I don't like that at all.
Or maybe Dinobots.
And then Neo comes in. He's like, guys, this is actually a simulation.
No.
None of this is real.
And that's why we learned that owning a bunch of properties all being owned by one large conglomerate is a bad thing.
Dude, I'm just terrified of this crisis party sounding because I know it's coming.
No, it's coming.
Hannah Claire, let's go to super chats, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so Yurishima
Utaru.
Okay. Says never trust the UN or their affiliates. That seems totally reasonable
Great
to
point.
me. Resist globalism. Corey Anderson says, HCB, what's up? Hi, Corey Anderson. You are not the Corey Anderson I think I went to college with, it turns out. He put an E in his name. This one doesn't.
Wow.
Okay, Clint. Oh, we already read this one. Clint Torres praising Kellen for his amazing performance today. Mike Nick says the patron saint of White Boy Summer returns.
You know that Chet Hanks now has a podcast that's about to launch. I'm already
And he
subscribed.
never came on this?
I'm already
That's so
subscribed.
rude.
You got to get some of those Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
No.
Oh, dude, he'd pull them off so hard, like
I
some
wanna
gold
get 'em now.
Dahmer.
I kind of want to get him now to like take back my
Dane,
my dignity from my dad who made me wear him for like a year.
And get a
You want to be
fur,
a gay serial killer?
Yes.
get a fur
Yeah,
trench coat too.
Instant karma for your bad joke.
It was literally an observation.
Let's do one more.
James Orenthal Nguyen says, no arms, no legs, a girl by the wall. Her name is Eileen.
I saw that one earlier. It's so good.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we will come back. We got one more thing to discuss, ladies and gentlemen. What?
No.
Everyone's just like, Dane should get the Dahmer glasses. Why?
Yeah, get him. You should.
Or they-
Well,
Do
you
you
guys,
agree with
Dane
me?
can't do anything until he runs it by his wife now. He is
Yes.
married. Hold
They're
up
not
your ring.
Dahmer
Prove
glasses. I just don't know what to call them, and that's the most recent appearance in pop
70s?
culture they've made.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 70s, 60s. You've got two.
The bar across
it.
the top.
You have the ultimate excuse now, which is like, I have to check with my wife. And that's amazing.
Dude, the leather
It's a whole reason to
jacket,
get married.
The beard. Man.
It'll be good. All right, guys, we're going to move on. So Riverdale ended last week. Nobody's watching Riverdale anymore except for weirdos, but that's fine. So during the finale of the show, they revealed that the four main characters were in a polyamorous relationship, and a group called Open, which advocates for polyamory and ethical, non-monogamous relationships, was none too happy about this because they feel like it's being done as a stunt. What they don't realize is that these things are always being done as a stunt and that Hollywood doesn't actually care
They're the
about
joke.
anyone. But yeah, so here's what it says. It says, the Riverdale series finale left some viewers puzzled. Actually, a lot of people were upset about this and they thought it was stupid. It says the reactions were
Interesting
mixed.
editorial comment.
The reactions were mixed, but many fans felt the show's creator only used the polyamorous relationship for a wow factor, which makes perfect sense because whether they want to admit it or not, when you do things that fall outside of normal social standard, right, you're going to be seen as a little bit different. I make no value judgments on whether that's good or bad, but I do feel that you have to accept that just because you're not the norm doesn't mean that you get to expect to be treated that way because it's just not the way the world works. So they spoke with Brett Chamberlain, who is the executive director of Open, the organization for polyamory and ethical non-monogamy, who tells us that though it's tempting to celebrate every portrayal of non-monogamy in popular media, it needs to be done both responsibly and from a place of understanding. No, they don't owe you anything. As we've learned with Hollywood, they're not interested in coming at anything from a place of understanding. And if they do, it's because they don't want to get yelled at, not because they actually care.
Listen, Brett, they're very unique and valid. Okay?
Validate them.
Oh, I am.
People want to be validated.
Yeah, and you're not doing it.
I'm not.
You know,
Kellen's gonna give you a demerit.
How do you guys feel? Do you guys?
Well,
how do you guys feel
I'll
about
tell you.
polyamory in television and movies?
There used to be a saying that it doesn't matter. Well, there's two. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and that's important because I don't want to know. But two, it also doesn't matter what people do in their own bedroom.
Yep.
Why does this need to be broadcasted to everyone in the public? Spider wars over here.
Because they want to be represented in movies and television.
Find something
But not
else.
if you don't represent
I
them the way they
I don't
want to
care
be
about
represented.
how you diddle people. Like, find something else. Pick a sport. Pick
No,
a
because
football
you have
team,
to-
and we'll have a conversation.
You have to think about your sexual orientation 110% of the time. Has progressivism taught you nothing?
Yeah, I mean that is really the long and short of it. Is they base everything around
You are nothing
your
but who
sexual
you sleep with
desires.
and how many people want to sleep with you. That's what all modern culture wants you to know, and that's pathetic.
Which is sad because that's the way that they've inserted into like the schools and stuff. It's not about who you're having sex with; it's who you love. So they found a way to slip it into like
all
all
roads
of the,
lead back to the sex.
Have you guys seen The Room?
The what?
That one where the girl's
Tommy
like
Wiseau-
trapped.
The Tommy Wiseau movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the guy's like, "Hi, Mark, how's your sex life?" Like that's progressivism.
I did not hit her. I did not. But the wow factor, like, what do you want to do? Like, if you're living a lifestyle that is generally not considered the norm, you're going to be seen in a unique way. Back in the day, people used to defiantly celebrate the fact that people saw them differently. Like, that's how people who lived in, with unique subcultures, things outside of mainstream culture, they kind of leaned into the fact that they weren't looked at normally, and they got a bit of energy from it. They were defiant and proud of the fact that they were not seen as normal. Now everyone that lives a life that isn't normal is desperate that you approve of how they live. And that's kind of a breakdown of the ability to be different.
How when you see those TikToks of people living those crazy fringe lifestyles, they always act like they're the ones being pioneers. It's like, doesn't it seem weird to you that everyone else is also posting videos just like yours? Like, where did you get the idea from in the first place?
True.
So it's like, it's not. You're right. You're absolutely right, Brett. But like,
My thing is the need for affirmation. Like with the story talk about, like, if you're on social media and you're like, I'm just trying to educate people about my weird alternative lifestyle. Like, maybe you are, but then you can't be annoyed when people are like, yeah, your lifestyle seems non-functional and I don't like it. Like, people are going to be critical of you, and if you are so confident, hopefully you have prepared yourself to get the negative messages. With this organization, they were like, well, we should be represented, but you guys didn't talk to us first, and this isn't what we'd wanted, and so I don't know that I do want it, because I think you don't understand. Like, it's a level of, like, you need to develop thick skin. Like, be happy that polyamory is there, and if they didn't present it the way you like it, they are probably presenting someone's interpretation of what that means anyway.
So then every single person who sees it differently believes they should be the one who should be consulted about how their lifestyle is portrayed on screen.
My least favorite word in the entire universe is awareness. And anything, by the way, there has never been a banger that's come after the words awareness or discourse. Those two words are
the
like,
marketing man is like, they kill
You're
the vibe.
absolutely right about discourse.
they are the two horsemen, I guess. I bet there's two other dog shit words, but they're like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Nothing ever comes good after that.
No, because you're getting into buzzword territory, which means it's going to be a very, very boilerplate discussion about whatever it is. It's funny because I watched. There's a show called Elementary. It was Johnny Lee Miller. It was like a New York version of Sherlock Holmes. He's still British, but they had a throuple relationship, and this episode is from 2013. So I mean, it was already making its way into television.
people did it. Like, it's not a new phenomenon, but
it
now
wasn't
the
the
fact
most
that you have
important-
to accept it on a mass scale, that's what's new.
But in that episode, like it plays into the story, and the two characters, one is a little bit shocked by it, but it's not treated as like this huge plot point. If anything, that does more to legitimize your position or your lifestyle than anything. It's when they put it in there and then they just don't make a big deal about it.
Well, the other thing, I have a question for you guys. I don't know, Hannah, you might be able to answer this. Is there a trend for, like, when communism starts gaining popularity, that polyamory starts gaining popularity?
Well, I don't know about that. I know
Because I'd
There's
be very
some
interested
indication
to
that
kinda look
homosexuality is on the rise when a civilization is on the collapse. They study this with like animal populations. I don't quote me on that one, team, and I know it's already going to happen. But I think part of it is any kind of breakdown from traditional commitment and structure is an indication that there is an alternative belief system in place. So it wouldn't be surprising to me that if communism was on the rise, it also became you should be getting the things that you want, and therefore you don't need to be bound to monogamy.
Well, it's also
everyone posed for the hit piece, so that
I need to give myself to the greater group rather than to just have one person all to myself. Like, if I'm not mistaken, people who are in these types of lifestyles, they look at like traditional one person dating one person as like bad. Like, that's selfish, right?
Mm-hmm. So the guy goes on. I was to finish what he talked about. He goes, "We didn't see or hear anything about why these characters practice non-monogamy, what it means for them, the substance of their relationships and agreements and communication practices, or anything about their underlying motivations." Dude, there is not enough time in the world to explain your lifestyle when the show's only got 42 minutes.
Maybe they don't owe you an explanation.
They don't owe you an explanation.
Maybe these fictional characters should do whatever the writers tell them to do.
Interesting.
Whenever stuff like this happens, it ends up being because then they what they want is they want to derail the story to make it about not just them but about their lifestyle.
Dude, there was a tweet going around. I retweeted it, and it was all these directors of this new shows that whenever they superimpose a character inside this new show, it's exactly them.
What do you mean?
Yeah, in video games too.
The Devil May Cry guy. But it was so Velma, this abhorrent chick. She put herself in. The other one's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They revamped the hot redheaded chick, and it's
April. Yeah.
April, and the fugly lady.
Okay.
Looks exactly how the writer does. It's like they can't conceive of
it's a self-insert.
Yeah, they can't conceive of anything outside of
games a lot.
It's an ode to narcissism, but also it's not just a narcissistic culture. We live in a world now where you're told, stay in your lane. Do not write about things you don't understand, because you're going to get called either a cultural appropriator, you're going to get called all the names under the sun, because they truly believe that the only way you can write about something is if you yourself has experienced it.
But it's very easy to stay in your lane too. So it's like, like if you are someone who's just following, the status quo, maybe that's not great, but it's very easy to stay in your lane with the algorithms and social media. You have people that like all they see is probably polyamory content fed to them 24 hours a day, and so
that's all they think about.
That's all they think about. So when they even think about any other lifestyle, they think that's bizarre, and that's insane.
I think you're totally right. I also think that when being told like, you guys are so unusual, and like if these types of like lifestyle choices that you make are done because you feel like they're how you're communicating in the world, that you're unique and special, you are extremely threatened by other people who don't opt to live similar to you. I think there becomes a need to defend or justify your decision when you're not actually secure in what you're doing.
Well, we're seeing this in video games a lot, because obviously we know video games is not a healthy activity, and the most avid gamers, it's going to show physically, right? If you don't work out and you just play video games all day, you're going to gain weight. There's all these issues, right? Well, now what we're seeing is a lot of players are like rejecting attractive characters in video games because they don't see it in themselves. So they're like, it's impossible. This is insulting. And it's like, dude, if you got up off your butt, turned off the game, you could look like that. But
well, no, because that's when they hit you with the where are her organs, unrealistic beauty standards, in which case that would be mostly women.
That's such a call, as if there's not hot women.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
the men don't care.
I was
like,
sharing
the men
with
are
Dane,
just like, dude, can I shoot in this game? Okay, cool. Let's
I was
play.
sharing with Dane earlier. It's my new favorite Instagram account. It's the most toxic thing I've seen in like my entire life. It's just called Family Travel Channel, and it's just the most impossibly hot mom you've ever seen in your entire life doing these like snippet travel videos. And it's just, I can literally feel her giving women body image issues as I watch these clips. It's incredible.
You report it. But you're like, this is not safe for women.
I can feel the women around me developing a lack of self-worth just watching this woman talk about like going out to eat at restaurants. And the point is, though, men see those things in games, and either they don't care, or they see those characters and they want to become like those characters, and it's aspirational.
It's a fantasy world, so turn the settings up to 10.
And the women see it and they're like, oh my God, this is so, because they feel more threatened by it because there are body image issues and a society full of companies that are preying on women's insecurities. That's fine. That's real. That exists. But I'm saying that men and women see those things differently and they approach those issues differently. And that might just be because we're now mixing like things that are at one point were considered traditionally male, like gamers. I mean, men still outnumber women in video games by a hefty margin unless you count phone games.
For a while, like men almost exclusively played video games, but the things that women were doing, like puzzles or other types of games, they've just transformed into video games. Like those types of games have just now made it digital. That's a big reason that you're seeing women come to the platform. Well, they finally started making stuff women wanted to play.
Yeah.
A lot of girls don't want to play Call of Duty. It's too fast paced. It's too much going on. They don't know
too
why.
Much work.
They get overwhelmed. They get stressed out.
Why are we shooting each other? Like, I don't get it.
Romance. There's no backstory or character development.
Exactly.
I mean, what am I supposed to do with it?
But you get
Give me Stardew Valley where I can be responsible and take care of my farm and then wait to get married. Like,
see, but the thing is,
too much.
That's why Barbie proves that, like, look, Barbie is successful because it's a movie for women made by women telling a story that appeals to the ladies, right? That's the reason why no woman cares about Marvel superheroes that are women, because those are stories that men are interested in, right? Not stories that women care about. You go to those movies and you'd go to those movies and be like, why am I watching this? This is stupid. Save the world already and get married.
Yeah,
that's what she would say.
I didn't go to any of the Marvel movies. I only go when asked by like a group of predominantly male, like if people from our office are like, we're going to the movies, I'll go. But I also didn't go to the Barbie movie because I also don't find it interesting. I think Kellen's totally spot on by saying, I think it took people a little while to say, instead of just putting female characters into games that are appealing to men, you have to find out what is interesting to women. Right, and ultimately, women are hardwired very differently from men. Their brains
You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Well, I'm going to do it anyways. They're hardwired to find different things engaging. They what appeals to them is different. And so that is actually the problem, that we are constantly, and I blame third wave feminism for this, we're constantly repackaging things that men are interested in and dropping women in to say like, well, and now you'll like it, right? Because there's a girl. And that's not how this works at all. Right. I mean, I'll give John Mulaney credit for this. He had some joke that was like, this is like from one of his earlier stand-ups, when I was dating my girlfriend, I had all these female friends, and I thought if I took her around my friends, they'd all get along. Wrong. You can't just make girls get along, just like you can't make girls suddenly like something that's actually oriented to men, especially when you don't understand that's what you are presenting them.
That's happened to me, like I've lived that kind of stereotype that like men just get along instantly over nothing. And I've been to like random parties where I don't know anybody, and instantly I find myself 5 minutes later deep into a conversation about Halo or something with some guy I don't even know his name, but we're having like a deep conversation about
There's a great Babylon Bee meme. It says like male friend group of 5 years finally learns each other's last names.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
it's true. You meet dudes and they're the homies, and that's fine.
And I will say, in defense of female friendship, like I have really close female friends who know my birthday, who know all kinds of things about me, and I have male friends that are like, what? No way. You work somewhere? Crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like it is a different thing, and both there's a place for both types of dynamics. I think it's, it's good to have variety in gender, right?
You need both of them.
I will say, just to end just to continue on the polyamory thing, I think Riverdale obviously dropped polyamory into, and I haven't even watched it, but to probably tie up a lot of unresolved character plots and to stay relevant in some way, so they can be edgy.
It's why shows would always, like, characters who were never portrayed as even slightly gay suddenly become gay in season 4. Because it's a way to stay relevant. It's why television is worse than it's ever been now, because you have to worry about, it's not about the first season, it's about what the hell's going to happen in season 3 and 4. So.
Well, because I think, Hollywood knows right now that you're either going to get people to watch because they support what you're doing, or you're going to get a reactionary kind of knee-jerk reaction, So
I just hate that, because the internet is the way it is. I just know that all these companies, they're riding the hate wave.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're just doing it because people get upset, and when people get upset, you're like, can you believe this? Retweet. And I'd give anything to go back to the times. Just like, I love this.
I disagree. I like knowing what I know now, because now I see all the fear mongering in the news, and I like all the people around me are freaking out. But I'm like, they do this all the time. It's all right. Like, it's okay. Take a deep breath.
All right, let's go to the super chats.
High Voltage 75 says super chat test. And then parentheses, getting a lot of errors sending super chats today for some reason.
YouTube, stop messing with us. Oh, by the way, before we go on, I'm gonna just because I've made a promise to myself that I'm gonna be better about not screwing up the poll at the end. I am ending the poll, ladies and gentlemen, and with 57% of the vote, New York style pizza is the winner. Chicago comes in second with 24%. Detroit pizza a lonely third with just 18% of the vote.
And we're holding strong.
Yep.
High Voltage 75 sent a second one. Brett, in case you haven't heard of it, just wanted to recommend The Rookie, a good baseball biopic starring an aforementioned Dennis Quaid. I cannot believe Dennis Quaid is in other things. This is crazy. Yep. What a crazy thing to happen.
I don't know if I ever saw The Rookie. That's a popular one though. I do recommend that go see the Hill this weekend though if you can. You could have gone. I mean, they had like Sunday was like National Movie Day.
I think the Rookie was a 40-year-old pitcher that was like a teacher.
Moneyball was really good. Too.
Moneyball was great.
I never seen it.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
Moneyball's really
especially you for someone who's into like analytics, you'd like it because that's what it is. He's like a nerd who ends up taking a baseball team using analytics to great heights. Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's there too, but
that's why Hannah Claire was watching.
Really no, that wasn't why I was watching it, but like that's why he is the backbone. Like they make it about Brad Pitt, but it's actually this one really smart guy who made everything happen.
Exactly.
Okay. Olivia Claire says Dylan is pulling up his dress like anything will fall out.
I saw that.
Well, it's because there's nothing to hold it up.
That's
also Dylan is an actor. Dylan is playing a caricature of a woman. Can't stand him.
Yeah, Dylan's a man who's never actually gone through what girls and women go through when trying on girls and women's clothing. Right? You have another. I'm sure, like Hannah Claire, you've had another. Like either your mom or grandma or sister or whatever, have someone to kind of show you that route, like when trying on clothes and stuff. Dylan's never had that, you know? So of course he's going to look ridiculous. The thing doesn't fit him. It's falling off.
Coming to Timcast Network. Hannah Claire shows Mulvaney how to wear
It's a fashion show.
I was going to say it's QVC.
It's what not to wear, but with us telling Dylan Mulvaney to put a suit on because he's a man. Shane Wilder says Dylan Mulvaney is why I'm glad I gave up beer in favor of Bob Dylan's Heaven Door bourbon. At least it's better than it's the better Dylan. I'm butchering this.
I thought Bob Dylan was super woke too.
I like the man in me
You're just here to ruin everything. So negative.
I'm a Minnesotan, so I can crap on Bob Dylan.
Victor Von Derp says Dylan does the woman thing, being obvious to the point and
oblivious to the point.
Oblivious to the point, just saying what quote she wants. It would be more insulting if it weren't so damn accurate.
The dress thing really was weird. It really was.
Because it doesn't fit. Because it's not meant for that body shape. Okay, someone, whatever. Shane Wilder says, as a kid, I wanted to be a scientist. Thanks, Back to the Future. Instead, I became a dumbass who writes and creates stupid memes.
Hey, man.
But do you do that professionally? Because that's kind of interesting.
That's God's work, my friend, and that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for that, my friend.
Send memes.
T-Bone says, join the Discord to listen to the new pre-show that is community-based happening right after PCC today on Timcast Discord. I love the Discord. We were talking about
that you're not on.
I am on it. I don't understand how to use it, and I need help.
Oh yeah, I can help you.
Can I mansplain it to you?
Anyone could explain it. I've asked Chris Bertman to explain it to me so many times, and I don't understand. I'll get like, you have a notification. I don't know where to find it. I'm just a boomer. It's
That's
fine.
cool. I'm impressed at how good they're at filling the time slots that we aren't using.
And they're so like community based. Like I love that this was the tool that you guys used.
Did you guys see the when that Bob Barker died?
Yeah.
Yes, as close to 90 as 100 as possible.
Yeah, that was whoever came.
Why didn't you lead with this? And we could have a Bob Barker game show moment.
I imagine that like I also on the same day after that happened, somebody posted it says the back of the Wheel of Fortune wheel. It's literally the behind the scenes. You see the back of the wheel that they spin on Wheel of Fortune. And it's just like just a bland set behind there, and somebody's like, I feel uncomfortable. Like I shouldn't be looking at this. Just the meme makes it feel like they somehow snuck backstage and got to look at the back of the wheel from Wheel of Fortune.
It is. The first time you step on like a professional set, it is kind of like whoa. You know, cameras do a really good job of hiding a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and then Adam Sandler posted his tribute to Bob Barker because
he's good about that, man. Out of all the celebrities, Adam Sandler always has such like a truly like heartfelt message he writes.
That might have
Not
been
for everyone, but
that's probably the best sports movie I've seen recently. Was the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler.
Yep.
Is that a sports movie?
Yeah, it is. It's
What sport?
It's basic. It's
Bo
basketball.
Cruz.
It's about him going to. In real life, he goes to the guy goes to China to find a guy who's like 7 feet tall to play
that what it
basketball.
was?
And in this movie, it's Spain.
Can I
They
ask a
changed it to
question?
Spain.
What's the relevance of Bob Barker being dying close to 100?
Because in the game show, The Price is Right, you always bet 99 cents and not $1 because you don't want to go over.
Because you go over, you lose.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
He went out with a strong.
God has a sense of humor.
I know.
It's like a day before he turns 100 and he's like, pull the plug now. Like, I'm not.
He's like, this is as close as we can get.
For the memes.
Yes.
Really devoted last service, you know. Larissa Danielle says Hannah Claire should host a Timcast dating show for the regular people. They match the show and give her their info for to each other after they match so they can be arranged to meet. That's hilarious. Hashtag Brett's not mid. Whoever said you were mid?
Who the hell was calling me mid?
I think he called himself mid.
I probably
Oh,
did.
they're trying to
early
help
in
your
the show.
self-esteem.
I
Guys, Brett is a catch. He has the potential to be a great hockey dad / husband.
Super
Really,
woke.
please slide into his DMs and find someone immediately. I haven't actually floated the idea of hosting a dating podcast here before, but I specifically want to talk to people who have been married for at least 5 years.
Go to.
Because I don't want to hear anything
I
else.
think.
I mean, she told me today I'm invited for it in 4 years from now.
Yeah, we're counting down the days. I'm excited about it.
You guys are still going to be doing the morning show, though, right? When the new studio's done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the works. We are a little bit cramped for studio space here, but yeah,
Well-
I would love to host a dating show. Just DM Tim, tweet at him, let him know you're interested.
You bring up a good thing about the studio space. That's what I wanted to do. Not quite man on the street, but we're in an interesting location here where we have colleges in the area and we're close to DC, but not that close. It'd be really interesting to get like Gen Z's take on true, not just like flashy, like what's your body count, but like
What's your
true
body count?
No, I
questions
only
that we
wanna
want the
talk-
answers to.
I only want to talk to people who have been married for an established amount of time. We could talk to Gen Z. It could be interesting.
Well, you could
but-
do that so you can find couples, Be like, how long have you been married? Can you show me your apartment? Like they're doing all these TikToks.
Oh man, I hate that. Especially because I don't know. It's like, why would you show some random person your apartment?
Oh,
You
it's
live
so
there.
fake.
I love those.
Sure,
It is
come
fake.
on in.
It is so fake.
It's like these tiny women. They're like, yes, come into my apartment, a stranger with a camera. Nothing bad like that ever happens.
What could possibly go wrong?
I actually have like a
and their
weird-
house is like clean,
I
right?
have like a weird feeling about those because like what I would see is like there would be these ones where they'd be talking to these girls. They're like they're basically living in a storage closet in New York City for like
They are.
a cheap amount, right? And then people, half the comments they end up getting divided, right? Half the comments are saying like, wow, look at this person, like they're so positive, they're making the most of their life, they're living, they don't have the greatest living accommodations, but they get to live somewhere they really want to be. And then the other half of the comments are, this is the government is awful, we need to subsidize housing, we need to give everyone a mansion, and it speaks to your perspective on the world, right? If you're actively engaging, you want to build a life for yourself someplace expensive, and you find this great option that's sure it's not the greatest thing in the world, but you're happy, that's awesome. But then people who are just naysayers and depressed have to come in and be like, oh, it should be better. Those people suck.
Well, it should be better.
No, it shouldn't. It's not the way the world works.
Yes, as Vivek says, we need to be for something, not just fighting against things.
I love
that's
Vivek.
true.
He's cool.
Yes, I'm fighting against whiners in comment section telling you that your small apartment in New York City is a bad thing.
Or it's hot chicks with a really big apartment.
I wonder how they
Dude.
pay for it.
There's this one girl in Miami whose apartment had an elevator for her car.
What?
Yeah,
Based.
and it just puts her right out, like right onto the.
You know what
main
we could
road.
do? We could do a Cribs Tiffany Gomez edition. So we go and see the $1 million house
I blocked her ass.
of. Well, that's your.
That was
that's
so
that sounds
cringe.
like a personal problem. Like
She's like mommy blog vibes.
It's the best part. It's the best. She's such a normie. It's so great.
Brett's ready to be
She
a stepdad.
I'm telling you.
she posts like a picture. She's like, hats on, girls. I'm like, you tell her. Like, do it, ladies. I don't know what that means.
You're like,
but
I stand with her.
Tiffany, if you're out there, Brett would like to take you on a date.
I would love to take you on a date,
Oh
Tiffany
my
Gomez.
gosh, it's happening. It's happening.
I already sent her a message because I tried,
Really?
Well, no, we tried to get her on the show. I want to get her on the show. I sent a formal business request.
That's how it starts.
Oh, that's okay.
Is that what they call sliding into the
formal
DMs?
Business.
Yeah, formal business requests.
Okay. Last of My Kind says most Major League Gaming MLG teams, as in the people who make real money playing games, require their members to work and to be overall healthy because it helps improve their performance. I think that's true, right?
I'm pretty sure MLG went out of business, or a good portion of it did.
And it's funny
because they were fat.
One of the best things about the Gran Turismo movie was like when they get the 5 people who qualify for the Gran Turismo Academy get there, and they're not fat, they're just normal looking people, right? And they're like, but they still got to get them all into shape, so they're like running and throwing up and everything.
Well, that G Fuel stuff that every streamer is just hooked on, that's not great, man.
Probably
It's
not
like,
good
well, there goes our sponsorship.
Yep.
Because it's anyway.
All right, 2 more. We got one from Corey Anderson. You got that?
Yeah, Corey Anderson says, does Tim only hire attractive women? That is the best workplace policy I can get behind.
Yeah, we have a no
but
fatties policy here.
I do know that Tim only wants good-looking firemen, because
Yeah.
one time we said that on IRL. He's in a burning building. Yeah. He only wants to be saved by an attractive male fireman.
But we do generally have a no fatties, no uglies
What's
policy
really
here.
funny too is then like this weekend,
Me and you got lucky.
there's like the Michigan or Minnesota State Fair or something. So all the Democrat politicians, like the women, like Klobuchar and Ilhan Omar, they're posting photos with firemen.
Yeah,
and I just like thought that was funny because the conversation just happened.
Yeah, I saw Klobuchar as being like, anyways, don't forget to stop by the fireman tent. And they're
I'm
all
like, oh,
shirtless and ripped, and you're like,
I'm like,
"Hey,
oh, they watched the
Klobuchar,
pool."
you go home, you cougar.
I'm like, Klobuchar, she tunes into Timcast.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. And Victor Von Derp says, quadriplegic in a pool, Bob. In a museum, art.
Okay, guys. All right. Now that everybody is exhausted, I want to thank everyone for joining today. Would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? We just passed 69,000 subscribers. Nice. Exactly. So, yeah, we got 347 likes. I want to see more likes on this video, so please go ahead and do that. Kellen, my friend, thank you for joining us. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You guys can follow me at Kellen PDL. And Dane, we don't want G Fuel. We want Prime. Okay.
Yeah, it's banned in Canada.
Yep.
Banned in Canada.
Yep. So Prime, if you're listening, we could use some refreshments in the studio.
I've been
Thanks,
I've been white knighting you right now, Logan Paul. You're fine. Nobody cares if you're being humiliated by Dylan Dennis. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm not even paying attention to that, man. Fine.
What's the other Paul brother doing? Because I feel like
Fighting
he always
people.
looks sad in clips I see of him.
He just fought a former retired UFC fighter.
He ironically is the more
Boxing.
dignified one.
Lately, yeah.
They kind of trade off.
Do they?
There's one more from High Voltage 75. Says Brett, the hot crazy Matrix said to avoid girls named Tiffany and hairdressers. Let it go, man. I hear girls named Olivia are great dating material. However, well, thank you for that.
I've only met one
Brett
cool
is
Tiffany,
grinning.
the one that worked here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is cool.
But the thing is, when it comes to hairdressers, you're never going to meet happier people. They always seem so happy, right?
I don't know why.
Make
Hair's
their own
gross.
hours.
They always seem happy.
They're like independent contractors. They do whatever they want to do.
All right, Hannah Claire, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find Brett on Instagram and Twitter. DM him with just like girls you know who are single.
With a face, with
He's
a, yeah.
really nice.
The thing is, just a picture. I'm going to need a picture and your measurements.
Well, you know, I was just gonna say, you know how you're supposed to be 6 foot and a millionaire and everything. Well,
Your body count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Hannah Claire, where can they find you?
You can find me on the internet. Sorry, I'm messing this up. I haven't done this in so long.
I know, it's been a while.
Like last week, Hannah Claire.
If you want to follow me on a social media platform, I'm on what was formerly known as Twitter at Hannah Claire. No, I'm at HC Brimlow on X, and I'm on Instagram at hannahclaire.b. But the best thing and most important thing you can do is follow at TimCastNews on Twitter and Instagram and X or whatever it's called, because we have a ton of really hardworking journalists. Chris Bertman, we've got some videos up from Alad, we've got stuff from Adrian Norman all the time, and yeah, I'm boring, but they're doing great work. So follow them at TimCastNews on Twitter and Instagram or X or whatever it is. And I'm really glad to be back. It's fun to hang out with the crew.
It was mildly chaotic today, but Dane, let everyone know where they can find you.
Guys, did you know that the average Twitter user has 707 followers? That means I am below average.
By how much?
So, significantly, sadly. So, let's help me on my battle to become at least average by following me on Twitter at Dane Font. And now, I shall spell that out for you. DANEFONT.
Remember, Dane just got married and you owe him a wedding present. So this is what you can do.
You can follow him on Twitter/X.
Yeah, I'm going to put some of my registry there. Get me something nice.
Perfect. All right, guys. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter/X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show, Pop Culture Crisis, is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. And if you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter/X at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.